Are you playing this on Xbox?
Yep.
I had the
All right.
PS3 version.
All right. There we go. Um. What the hell was that? Okay. Never mind. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sauron. I am your host, the Dark Lord of the Sith, and today I am joined with Edgy Penguin and J Step,
Yo,
and we are going to be streaming and chatting what is my personal favorite Star Wars game out there, The Force Unleashed, which I know I've asked everyone here beforehand, but I'm pretty sure everyone else shares the sentiment that this is maybe not their favorite, but you know,
for what it
one of
is,
your
it's fun.
favorites.
And
I
it's
would
funny
say
to
it's
get
my. I would say it's probably my second favorite. I don't. Well, actually, I don't even know anymore because, on one hand, I probably played Battlefront 2 more, just because that's the easier game to just sit down and just play a couple rounds. Even though, to be honest, it was mostly against the AI.
Well, let's put it this way. I thought this game was good enough that I actually beat it fully twice. First time
Damn.
on good mode and second time on bad mode. No, wait, I beat it 3 times. First in good mode, second in bad mode, and I felt so bad the third time I actually beat it again.
You know what's funny? I actually didn't even know there was multiple endings until like a month after I beat it. I didn't know you could
Well,
pick
Hey,
the
Gumby,
ending.
multiple endings kind of a stretch. It's one of those just light side, dark side endings.
Well, you know what I mean, but still, I didn't even know there was an option.
Oh yeah.
I just
How's the volume?
assumed. Hold on, I gotta
well, you can be
unmute
really nice or you can be a
unmute
total
the
dick.
stream.
Yeah, 'cause I gotta. Before I start, I want to make sure because like, I want to see if I can put it on subtitles, but
Okay, I think the I just unmuted the stream on YouTube. I think the game audio is fine.
okay.
Yeah, I
If
can
it-
hear it okay.
All right, if
Yeah.
it gets worse or if it doesn't work out, just let me know and I'll adjust it. I see Gumby's in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I freaking hate YouTube because they always default to top chat. And top chat be hiding stuff. Yeah, it's because he said the F word. That's why it blocked it.
Well, that's why I look at on the StreamYard.
Oh, that's right. You use Streamlabs. See, I use OBS, so it just pulls like YouTube chat, but it also will go to the default like top chat thing sometimes, which is really weird.
What's funny about this is that like even though I've played this game plenty of times in the past, I didn't have it on my Xbox, so I had to buy it again, which I'm fine with, but it was being really funky trying to buy it.
You know what? I didn't have good internet when this game came out, so when the DLC came out, I couldn't get it.
Oh yeah.
And then when I saw the DLC, well, I was like, oh man. I was like, oh man.
Because it's so funny because when I first played this game, like first ever time it ever came out, I actually played the PSP version. I couldn't know. I was like,
There was a
wow.
PSP version? I know there was
Yeah.
a PS2 one.
And there's
So-
also a Nintendo DS, which I think was the worst.
There's a Wii one too, which I hear is completely different. Then
Alright,
again, the
so-
PS2 one has like a Jedi Temple level that's not in the
Alright,
next
so
the PS3 one, which is weird.
we'll get into it in a second. But what's okay? So this
I think
game
it
has
might
an
have been
interesting
DLC.
story in terms of like how it was produced and all that jazz. It's like so basically, there's like three versions of the game. There's the 360, PS3, PC version, which they're all the same version, just ported different consoles.
There was an
Then there's
iOS version.
Wow.
Yeah,
God,
then there's like
there was an iOS version. Holy shit!
then there's a PS2, PSP, and a Wii version, which are ultimately the same game. And then there's like the DS and the iOS version, which I think are the same game as well. And so like there's like certain missions and certain ones. And what's funny is that even on the PS3, 360, and PC version is probably like the main.
Oh, so the
version.
Jedi Temple was DLC.
In
Yep.
this version it was.
Oh,
However, the PSP version, the PS2 version, the Jedi temples are part of the story,
Oh.
and that's technically how the story was meant to be.
Then why was it not initially in those other versions?
I couldn't tell you.
That's so weird. Like I get, because I've seen games do that before, where like they'll have a different level for like the previous gen consoles would get a different level, because usually what ends up happening is they have to cut the levels down to get everything on the weaker hardware. So they may try to make a level specifically for that version. As kind of like hey, we know we couldn't get this 100% like the version on PC or on, you know, the next gen consoles, but here's something.
Yeah.
All right. DJ's gonna join us when he can, so we're gonna go ahead and get
cool.
started. But okay, so
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's so weird because. Give me a second.
No, it's cool.
You good, man?
I'm gonna do Sith Warrior because I haven't played this game in a long time. But so, before anyone says otherwise, and I hate this notion, this game was canon.
Yeah, it was.
Well, let me rephrase that. I already messed myself up. The story of this was canon.
Like, however, I think the novel was canon.
Yes,
I think is
the game version of events wasn't canon. And so, like, what do you call it? In the novel, he goes to the Jedi Temple. Like, the novel version is more reflective of like the PS2, PSP, Wii version. And so that's where like the really weird angle comes in, because it's like
technically the PS3 version isn't canon.
Exactly. Like the game already isn't canon. Like the whole point, like everyone always talks about like Starkiller's way too overpowered, which he is. But to be fair, like that was kind of the whole point. Like they wanted.
I mean, the game is called The Force Unleashed, so
yeah. Plus, everyone else was overpowered too. Like Vader's literally like.
Oh, Vader's ridiculous. Like if Luke had to fight this version of Vader, Empire Strikes Back would have been a hell of a lot. That duel would have been even shorter.
Oh yeah.
Like poor Luke, it would have been a wrap. It would have been a wrap.
He could have destroyed Cloud City. Like that's like if he really wanted to win, it's just all right. I'm done with this city.
Yeah, the Vader could have been, we're just gonna blow up the whole city. Screw it.
But yeah, like so yeah, like in the game, like in the PSP version and in the novel, there's like part of his life, Starkiller, where he goes to the Jedi Temple as part of like yeah, like spoiler alert for this. We're gonna spoil this entire game. So if you've never,
the game is before, like I think I was still in like I don't even know when did this game come out again. I think I was in middle school when this game came out.
Shit, I looked it up and I forgot to like note it down. But yeah, this game's been out for at least probably a decade.
Yeah, this game is old.
Oh yeah.
But when Starkiller starts becoming like a Jedi, at some point Coda sends him to the Jedi Temple, and while he's there, he has like a vision of his father, and that's there where he learns like his Jedi heritage.
Yeah, his real name is Galen.
It's like a major point for his character to, kind of realize that like he was never meant to be a Sith in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so like,
oh, that is so cool.
Yeah,
it's cut out of this game. Like it's completely cut out, and it's like that's one of the most important parts of his character.
Well, they kind of included it, but except you were on Kashyyyk, I think, when like you see like a vision of your dad.
Well, yeah, because both versions. See, that's the other thing. Oh.
I think the stream's lagging on the Xbox. Oh, there we go. I'd honestly love a game where you played as Darth Vader like the entire game.
Yep.
And he's just like as unstoppable as he is here or close to it.
It's cool hilarious that you can take out the Wookiees and the Stormtroopers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it's like a post Episode 3, Vader's kind of like establishing Empire control throughout the galaxy, hunting down Jedi. Oh my god!
Yeah, and maybe there's like a proto-resistance type thing.
Dude,
I would love to see them do something like they were doing in a lot of the Star Wars stories, minus Dr. Opera. She seems so kind of unnecessary.
Is that the character that was in like the recent run of Marvel stuff?
Yeah. I mean,
She's
I think they just added her in just so that they could add that little bit of diversity in there. And
I heard that story. What line wasn't very good. I haven't
so
read
here's
it.
the thing about
Well,
Afra,
yeah,
because
okay.
I read that initial Vader run, and she wasn't that bad in there. And I think what it was because they weren't trying to like. She was just a side character. I'm killing some stormtroopers here because I just want to get a handle on what it's supposed to do.
They weren't. Was it? They weren't like trying to shove her in, like shoehorn her in too
Well, because
hard.
like she starts off as just a side character, and like she was moderately competent, and it was also another thing where she kind of knew her place to Vader because we're talking about Darth Vader of all people, right?
Yeah, like you really don't want to cross Darth Vader, piss him
Yeah,
off.
and that's kind of like the first thing she says. She's like, "Listen, I know who you are. I know what this is. I know about it. Whatever job you've hired me to do, by the end of this, I'm gonna die. Like I know that." Oh man,
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah, there she wasn't so bad, and also in Vader Down and a lot of the Star Wars Darth Vader comics, she was okay. She wasn't the worst, but then she got her own comic, and she's like, oh god.
yeah, I was gonna say. I think what happened was that like. I guess you could say she got too popular, but I honestly, I've never met anyone who was that into her character. I've never met anyone who was like a hardcore Afro fan, and if they were, it was like one person.
You want to know how I even know about this character?
Because of the whole like what? Actually, I'm curious.
Because your boy Zach, Diversity Comics, did like a review of like the comic, like the first issue, and even he didn't say it was bad, but he was just kind of like, yeah, it's all right.
It's one of those where it's like, so like I said, in the comic, in the Vader comic,
I just love how you could just break a tree just by flipping somebody into it.
Like she's very much like she's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with her character in there. She's not really annoying. Again, it's one of those where it's like she knows where she stands in terms of like the story, and the story reflects that she's a side character.
Mm-hmm.
However, when it gets to the end of her character, it's really weird because like there's this notion where she's like, "Listen, Vader, when you kill me, use the saber because I've always wanted to die to a lightsaber." And the entire point of like throughout this run, Vader, he's still a villain, but he's always been presented as to be kind of fair, if like that makes sense. Like he was never like unreasonable.
Like he wasn't just the just chaotic evil. I'm just gonna kill you just because.
Yeah, like if he said I'm gonna kill you, he's gonna kill you. But like he never seemed like the kind of guy who would go out of his way to torture somebody who didn't fully deserve it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In the comic, when it gets time to like the end of her arc in that story, where the hell did he come from? Must be up here. When it gets to the end, like for some reason when he decides to kill her, he decides to shove her out the airlock. And I was thinking like, this seems kind of weird. Like, why is he? And they were making like a big deal, like he's shoving her.
Oh, isn't this the thing that people got mad about? That Vader just like murdered this woman? I know that was another thing.
There was another one, but
that was another one. I remember people got mad that Vader killed a woman. It's like, do you realize this man killed children in episode 3?
Yeah. But basically, like he shoves her out the airlock, and like that's the end of her character. But it turns out that like she planned for that, and she survives it, right? Like,
how do you plan for that when you asked him to kill you with a lightsaber?
Yeah, I'm like, she's like, I knew he would throw me out the airlock because I said I was afraid of that. It's like, well, what happens if he just decided, I'm just gonna kill you with a lightsaber?
What if he's like, lol, I'll just kill it a lightsaber. It's way easier. It's
yeah,
not like I gotta hide your body anyway.
Route to handle. So
he was. What if he just force choked you to death?
Like,
that would have been actually kind of cool. But anyway.
It was such an obvious, like, they wanted this character to survive so they can use her for more stuff, kind of thing. And so, like, that already was kind of like a, I won't say it was a turnoff. It was kind of annoying, but I was like, it's whatever. And then when it gets to her first solo run, like the first issue of her solo run, and it's like, barely anything happens. It's just an establishment of her character, and she's just really, like, her character is like she's so quirky. It almost seems out of place for Star Wars.
Like
but
it
again,
doesn't, like it just doesn't fit.
yeah, but
Kinda
at the
like
same
Lower
time,
Decks in
it's
Star
like,
Trek.
yeah, at the same time, it's like it's whatever. She's a different character. So plus, she's not a Jedi or a Sith, so maybe that has something to do with it. But like, oh, what the hell? I'm trying to remember how you force choke. Oh, that's not how you do it. But yeah, like she's just one of those characters who seems artificially popular. And then like the whole Durge thing, because I know Gumby
I'm not
mentioned it.
familiar with that one. What is that one?
He was a bounty hunter from the 2D animated Clone Wars. He fought Obi-Wan and somehow survived their fight.
So okay, so the thing about Durge, and I think I mentioned this in my 2D versus 3D Clone Wars stream, is that Durge's first appearance was the 2D Clone Wars, but when he got his like established backstory, like it turns out he was a bounty hunter from back in like the ancient Sith Empire days. Like that's how old he is.
Damn.
And so like when it came time for the separatists, he kind of knew the Sith were behind it. And so he signed up with their side solely for the chance to kill more Jedi.
He just played along pretty much.
Yeah, like he was totally like he pretty much joined this CIS because he just wanted to kill some Jedi. And that's basically his whole story, is that he's just this ancient bounty hunter. His species is basically immortal. They can't die from any like physical means for the most part. And it was a really cool, like interesting, pretty much a side character. Like you don't really need to know who this character is, but he was just badass.
He was just like that badass character that's just meant to just fuck shit up, basically.
Yeah, and when Disney bought Star Wars, a lot of the stuff was no longer canon. And one of the things was like, well, characters like Durge and stuff, are they ever going to be canon again? And Disney kind of slowly was reintroducing some of those characters into the canon. And Durge's introduction was in Dr. Aphra's solo run. And the minute I saw that, I was thinking like, all right, one or two things is going to happen. It's going to be like a very short, meaningless cameo, or he's going to get his ass kicked by Aphra. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens.
He got his ass kicked by Aphra.
Because, of course.
Really?
And I was just thinking like, so let me get this straight. Here's Durge, a bounty hunter who's killed Jedi, fought alongside the Sith, and he's done in by a quirky space lesbian. Like that's your introduction to this character.
Oh, wow, that is.
Like that's what it is.
I heard they fucked up Thrawn when they reintroduced him too.
Thrawn was all right, but he wasn't as intimidating as he should have been. Like in Legends, in Rebels, when he shows up, he starts off decently enough. But the problem is that because it's a cartoon show, and the bad guys ultimately have to lose, there's a certain point where it's like, all right, man, this guy's too smart to
lose.
Really lose. So he starts losing because of like other people's incompetence.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh,
his plans are great, but it's like someone else will mess up his plans, and it's like
that's dumb.
Yeah, I forgot this doesn't really tell you the movesets when you play as Vader. It's kind of like here's
Figure
Vader
it out.
going us. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember how to do certain moves, but I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Yep. When in doubt, force push.
Because I heard from someone in the way they handle him in Disney canon is it's like, aha, you foiled my plan, but I actually wanted you to foil that. I have another plan.
Yes, that's exactly what happens in a lot of stuff. Like he'll make a plan, and someone else will mess up. Like some side character will mess it up, but they'll be like, "Oh, we're sorry, your plan failed because of so and so." He's like, "No, that was part of my plan," and it's like,
dude,
what?
dude.
It was one of those like so obvious. Like, all right, we see what you're trying to do here. He can't really lose, but he can't also win either. So you have to be very selective with it.
See, I like it better where it's more so like like the heroes think they thwarted the guy's plan, but it turns out like that was like a front for his actual plan, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like, oh, we destroyed your ship. Is a yeah, but the other ships managed to slip past you.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Still though, I'm probably one of the few people who actually enjoyed Rebels throughout the entire thing, but I felt that season 2 was the best, and Vader was the reason why.
I'm gonna love with you. I actually haven't watched an entire episode of Rebels. I've seen a good chunk of a few episodes, mostly the one where Ahsoka and Anakin dueled.
Yeah.
Like,
which was really good.
Rebels is those shows where it's like, it reminds me of early 3D Clone Wars, where it's like, it's all right. It definitely could be a lot better. But personally for me, unlike 3D Clone Wars, it never really gets better for me.
The one thing I didn't
achieve that status.
The one thing I remember not liking, and this might just be me, I hated how like when there was like fight scenes, how weightless everything was.
Yeah,
like characters would just kind of snap into different like poses and stuff. It just felt it didn't have like impact to it. Like there were some things where it did, and I think like the last season of Clone Wars they did, like when Ahsoka and Maul are fighting for a little bit. Like it's like, okay, that actually had some impact, and apparently I thought that was mocap or something, because I was like, wow, that looks really good. Well, and it turns out it wasn't mocap. It's like, well, you did that by hand?
Yeah, my issue with Rebels mostly was like, what was it? The lightsabers. I hated how tiny and pathetic.
That weirded me out too, that they made them like really thin looking. Like I would have been fine if it was like a new character and that was just how their lightsaber looked. They designed it that way, but everybody's lightsaber was like that. And then, of course, when because I remember you posted this on Twitter, the damn helicopter lightsaber thing.
Listen, I don't care what anybody says.
That is so dumb.
Like that's not even like. I know some people said like it's so dumb, it's cool, and it's like no, that is not so dumb.
No, it doesn't even get to coolness dumb. It's just.
Oh wow, he's actually doing some damage.
Oh, you know what actually is cool dumb?
What?
In the Transformers, the Babe movies, the helicopter robot, like in the game. His weapon is he takes off his own propeller blades and uses them and swings them around and cuts people with them. It's kind of dumb and kind of clunky looking, but it's kind of cool at the same time. He just uses his helicopter blades and just takes them off his back and just swings them like a weapon at people. Because it's like, you kind of expect that when it's a helicopter robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so,
but it's silly. Like the animations are kind of funny too. But it's like, okay,
yeah, because to me, like the entire lightsaber helicopter thing, it's like I don't even want to argue a practicality standpoint because this is a space fantasy story.
I think I wouldn't mind it if like they weren't laser swords, like if it was actual like big ass blades, like physical blades. I think I wouldn't mind it as much because then it's like, okay, my brain can be like, that's generating some kind of lift here. But even then, it's like, it's still just weird.
Well, because, like, again, there's better ways to fly in
Star
Wars.
Like, you could just force push yourself into the air.
And not even just force push. Like, imagine if they had, like, jetpacks or something. Like, they had, like, rocket boots. Like, there's
like a Jango Fett jetpack with the...
Like, there's
still being force sensitive. That'd be pretty cool.
And to me, it's one of those, because I'm a big fan of Rule of Cool. Like, I'm a huge fan.
Oh, I like Rule of Cool. Like, I know people were complaining about Vision's the umbrella lightsaber thing. I'm like, that is just so dumb. I'm actually just fine with it. It's just so Japan ridiculous. It's like, you know what?
Well,
it's not canon anyway.
Yeah, and it's not the worst bullshit I've ever seen in Star Wars. That honor still belongs with Rey and doing the Jedi mind trick as her first force power.
Yeah, that was some straight up horse shit. Or how about when Palpatine's like blasting her with force lightning powerful enough to destroy starships, and she's just blocking it with a lightsaber, and then she crosses the lightsabers in an X, and somehow Palpatine casts no counter to this.
Yeah.
And it's getting fried by his own lightning. Does think, I could just kill this lightning right now and force push her away.
Or do what Snoke was doing, basically bend her in half backwards.
Yeah.
And that was working pretty well.
Yeah, get some good old forced chiropractic going on.
Yeah, like she doesn't seem to have any defense with that. Even
yeah, she seems really bad at blocking force powers aside from lightning that one time.
Oh my god, that is such a huge freaking plot hole. I mean, if they didn't use the lightsaber and she just basically held her in place, she would have died in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And then the whole idea of we're gonna kill every goddamn Skywalker, and then just have Rey just be like, "I'm a Skywalker," and I was like, "That's not how that works. You weren't adopted."
Can I? Oh, damn it! I didn't mean to do that.
Ooh, before I forget, the reference you were making, Edgy, about everyone losing their shit when someone was dying. It was basically a Vader stan that like really was way too much into Darth Vader.
Yeah, I remember like she really was like all up in his face. Vader just stabbed her.
Okay, so yeah, I read that
airlock or some shit.
I read that comic, and so basically it's like I'm gonna put toggle because that's not happening. Basically, it was what was the miniseries called? Dark Visions, and it was just a bunch of like. Can I not put on subtitles? There we go.
That story was kind of bad, but there was a good one in that one. But
well, they weren't bad. It was just It was just a little anthology kind of story, and so like that was one of them. It was weird, but like it was all right. It was just one of those like this is whatever. And what's funny is that like supposedly, what's that dude's name? Chuck Wendig. Apparently, this is before he got kicked out of Star Wars. Which keep in mind, like think of how
that one line that everyone like posted that he actually brought. It's like, you know what? See, I don't even need to feel self-conscious about anything I publish because like it can't be worse than this, right?
Yeah. But keep in mind, like, say what you will about Star Wars, like this is a dude who got fired from them, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
He got fired from Star Wars, and apparently he had something to do with that like original story, and it was supposed to be a dude, right? Like the Vader stand was supposed to be a guy, and people were like, "So let me get this straight: like you're upset because it's a female getting killed by Vader, but."
I mean, Vader force choked his wife. Let's not forget.
Yeah, but it's like, but suddenly you would have been fine if it was a dude. Like
the fuck?
The double standard is very obviously there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like either way, Vader is Vader. This is like the second most evil man in the galaxy. Like
I remember when a bunch of feminists got mad at X-Men Apocalypse because they had that poster of Apocalypse choking Mystique and they claimed it promoted domestic abuse. It's like, bruh.
His name is Apocalypse.
His name is Apocalypse. Like, he's supposed to be the villain. Like, villains are supposed to do heinous shit. Like, choking a bitch.
Literally.
Literally.
He literally chokes.
Literally chokes a bitch. And then the thing is, like, it's like, do you realize how many superhero comic covers have, like, the male characters in fucked up situations? Like, there's an iconic one where Venom is, like, standing over Spider-Man and
he's got blood
apparently, like, cut his chest and yeah, it's like, cut him up and stuff. Spider-Man looks like he's pretty much like dying. He looks like he's in a death spasm or something. It's like, okay, like it's not that, you idiot.
Anyway, so.
I really like the fact that Starkiller does the reverse grip thing, even though it's practically not like you really don't do that with swords. It's kind of awkward.
So this is interesting, and I've always noticed this, is that like in this game came out before the 3D Clone Wars, and Starkiller has this fighting style. Later in the 3D Clone Wars, Ahsoka has a similar fighting style.
Yeah, she does. I remember that the reverse grip thing.
I always thought that was interesting, and I always thought it was like an interesting connection, showing that this is just how Anakin / Vader trains his apprentices.
That actually is a nice touch.
Huh.
Though I noticed that Anakin never is seen doing the reverse grip thing. At least not in what I saw in Clone Wars, because I haven't watched every episode.
Oh, something you'll never see in Star Wars again? A woman with an open cleavage area again.
Oh, hell yeah.
Juno Eclipse is like top tier Star Wars waifu. I don't care what anybody says, fight me on it.
No.
Yeah, even if the
He's
game's
one of the
graphics have
best
not
girls in
aged
here.
well, like Juno is still top tier.
The toppest of tiers, man. The toppest of tiers.
And we're walking into a trap.
And I love how like her first introduction to Star Killer. I skipped the cutscene, so I apologize for that. But her first introduction to Star Killer is like
Him just being a straight up edgelord.
yeah, and she doesn't take any of his shit. It's like literally a Sith assassin standing before her, and she's like,
I don't
"Listen, you're
care.
on my ship, all right?"
It's like, listen here, boy.
And then like
explosive charges on levels 2.
one thing that I always found interesting is like I've always loved, especially Legends stuff, where they show like the Empire side of things, and they always show like the rationale of this Empire. Where
Oh
it's
wait,
like,
Gumby said preach Edgy. He's like, wait, what am I preaching? The accent. Oh, he's talking about Juno. Yeah, her accent too is top tier.
there's something I always found interesting though is that like
I'll be moving the rogue shadow out of firing range.
especially in Legends when it shows, because in Legends they show a lot more of like the Sith and Empire side of things, and I know there's like a moment where she's like, Starkill's like, you do know Vader killed our last pilot, and she's like, I'm sure the last pilot gave Vader a reason to kill him. I'm not gonna give him that. And I was like, I always found that interesting, how people rationalize serving the Empire.
Yeah,
I feel
that
like
is
that's something
interesting.
I always feel like that's something that's kind of missing, especially lately, because you know, in this time, it's like, you know, the Empire is always objectively the bad guys.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
it is interesting to see them have that, like, is it morally gray? I don't know how to describe
Or
it.
just
but
kind of like try to rationalize it, I guess.
yeah.
Because I mean, and I think even George said it. No one who's evil thinks themselves as evil.
mhm. Even if they use the dark side of the Force, it's not that they know. That's not that they acknowledge that it's the evil side of the Force. It's that it's the more powerful one, and they can do what they need to do. And even Anakin, although it could have been directed a little bit better, was thinking that the Jedi was corrupt, and that was his rationale for basically being okay with the slaughter of kids.
Yeah, that's probably the one thing I think they dropped the ball on. Was I wish if I was gonna direct that scene where he kills the kids, what would have happened? I think would have happened. It should have been that he's hesitant to do it. Like he takes his lightsaber out, but he's not like igniting it. You know, he kind of has this like look on his face, like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And then Palpatine like talks to him through the Force and it's like, "If you don't do this, you won't be strong enough to save Padme." And then it's like he reluctantly does it. Like he reluctantly ignites the lightsaber and even is like still distraught about it. Like after it happens, like you just see him standing outside the room and maybe you don't even see his face and he's like clearly like hiding it under the hood.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think by then they were the time for the movie was going really long. So they
apparently the Jedi attack thing on the temple, there's like a shitload of that wasn't in the movie.
That's a pity.
Like apparently also the rescue scene for Palpatine in the beginning, that went on for an hour.
Yeah,
like there's about an hour footage that was never released.
There's like the cut death of Shakti.
Well, she dies like twice in that movie too, which is funny.
Yeah, she does. It's like I guess Lucas did not like her, and so much.
He really did not like her.
She died in this game.
Yeah, she dies in this game. She died in Grievous killed her in Revenge of the Sith during the ship mission part, but then later on, Anakin kills her again.
So yeah, like there's like, because I know like in the 2D Clone Wars show, it shows.
Yeah, Gumby, that's even better. You just hear him scream and just pure agony over what he's done.
Like she gets captured by Grievous, but then like she's not captured by Grievous in the same show. Like he just tortures her for a little bit.
It's just like, okay, yeah, I'll let you go.
And then like she dies in she dies in like the deleted scene. And then she dies again to Anakin. And then like in this game.
And then she dies here.
She's like I think she's like the third boss. Like
she dies to gets killed by a damn Sarlacc.
Good lord.
Well, she gets killed by a Sith apprentice of all.
Well, yeah, no, Starkiller kills her, and then I guess the Sarlacc just kind of eats her.
Well, I think she kind of just like surrenders and falls into the pit herself.
Yeah. I just remember there's a part with like the finisher where Arkel's just zapping the Sarlacc with just a ridiculous amount of electricity, which I honestly think the devs like played God of War. It's like, what if we did God of War but Star Wars? And I'm not
like
saying
I
that
said-
as an insult because it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, because like I said, this game is like it's very much a power trip.
It's a
Like,
power trip.
And that's what makes it good.
I know.
I mean, again, I beat this game 3 times. I thought it was twice. But no,
One thing I love it, I'm waiting for it to show up. Like when you sometimes force push people, the camera like follows them as
yeah,
they go
that happens if
flying.
It's like the last person, the last enemy in an area.
I'm not gonna lie. I first was kind of thrown off when stormtroopers were trying to kill you. I was like, wait a minute, I'm Vader's apprentice. Why are you trying to kill me? He's like, oh wait, they don't know.
Yeah, this
Remember?
is like,
Wait, they don't know.
This was back when the Sith were much more devious at each other because it's like
Well, remember the whole rule of two: if there's more than 2 of them, they'll just gang up on the master and kill them.
Mm-hmm. It's
Oops.
like you are. It's like you are no longer the apprentice. You are a rival.
Yeah.
That was.
oh, you know what's something that kind of annoyed me. So when I was getting ready to get this game, I remember there's a lot of like character like costumes.
Yeah, there's a
It's just
shitload
like-
of them.
Yeah, but they're all DLC, so I didn't even bother buying them. But one thing that annoyed me is that a lot of the really good ones are in the PS2 version. Like, there's like a skin for like several like Legends characters. I know Mara Jade is one of them.
There's a Mara Jade skin. Oh shit.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Ayla Secura. There's Anakin.
I've intercepted a message from
Who else was
Tower.
there?
The
I remember liking Ayla just purely because of the fact that she had
Malek.
she had 2 lightsabers
Malek, he's a character from
from Knights of the Old Republic.
yeah, like
Yeah.
holy shit, Malek is a skin. I mean, it's so there's no real change to your character other than appearance.
It's just appearance, but that's so cool. That's still cool though.
Yeah, that's one thing I always missed about like old school Star Wars stuff is that they weren't afraid to like include Legends stuff in it. I wonder. Let me see if I can do it.
Wait, Malek was in Force Unleashed. Oh, that was a DLC skin in Force Unleashed 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, Force Unleashed 2, I
Whoa.
liked the gameplay, but the story and the fact that it felt way too damn short.
So the thing about so let me put it like this. I don't care what anybody says. This game was again the novel of this game was canon. However, Force Unleashed 2, I don't care what anybody says, that was not canon because
Yeah, I'm about to say, is that even considered canon?
I don't want that to be considered.
You started
I
robot
never
in there.
considered it canon because it didn't have this there was no novel like the other one, and plus, because again, like in this one, like the novel, he's much weaker. The only real feat he has that's overpowered is
The Deaths bring down a Star Destroyer.
it's sort of because in the novel it's even described as he's not really pulling it down, he's more of guiding it down.
Right, it was already coming down.
Yeah, it was already coming down. He's not really pulling it. He's not really like yanking it out of the sky. He's more or less redirecting it. And then fighting Vader and basically beating him. But in the other one, it's all over the place. Like he's got the dual lightsabers. He's freaking like tearing AT walkers in
Apart.
half
Yeah.
with the Force alone.
Yeah, he's just like crumpling them and stuff, and let's not forget that giant monster on Cato Nemoria, which was just wow. Okay,
I mean, that was a cool fight.
that was cool, but
in
like,
of itself, but
it's like god damn.
It's a little too broken.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
what's
Emily,
up,
the artist, is here.
yeah, Emily.
Hey, Emily, good to see you.
I will say though, as much even if the game wasn't canon, it's like I just liked how the combat felt, and I loved how even with how he was funneling his powers into the lightsabers. Like
Yeah, I
instead
noticed,
of like he would like channel lightning into the lightsabers, so they had like lightning coming out of them, or like the force push would go through the lightsaber.
Yeah, I know there's like I know there's an upgrade you can get where I I want to like say he can he puts a lightning in the blade and like extends his like swings.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like if you press like I think if you press like triangle mid combo, you could then funnel lightning into your next attack and stuff. I also love the mind tricks because it was like, oh, so this is what like an evil mind trick would be like. Where he's just like, you will shoot your friends, jump off this cliff.
If I remember correctly, some of the crystals were pretty crazy too. I know they had like the. I know
they had like the dark saber kind of.
Yeah, there it is. The dark saber kind of crystal.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I like that the second one they actually gave them like different effects, like in-game effects. Like there was actually a dark saber one that I think did like corrosion damage or something. Like it actually would melt things.
Let me see about the costumes though. Because I think I'm pretty sure you don't unlock any costumes until after you beat the game. Which,
well, no, you unlock them. You unlock some of them during the game.
Oh, never mind.
Maybe like you change costume like every mission, pretty much.
Oh, you know what it is? I downloaded the Jedi Temple DLC.
Ah,
ooh,
nice.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, but like. But see, this is what because I remember some of them. It's like Sith apprentice armor, which is like very Knights of the Old Republic kind of Sith armor.
Yeah.
I really miss that about Star Wars. That like connection they would throw in, even if it wasn't like a direct connection. They kind of like even skins and stuff. Oh damn!
You know what's one thing, and this is completely unrelated, that I miss. You remember when like fighting games, like characters' old skins were actually like completely different skins and not just recolors?
Yeah.
Like I remember, like, because I was always the coolest shit because you just see like, okay, this is like a reimagined version of this character. It's not canon. Because I remember loving that in like Soul Calibur where they would do that, but then after like 4, they stopped doing that, and it's like, oh, come on, guys.
Well,
Speaking of Soul Calibur,
they had a couple of different costumes for Ivy. I remember seeing that they had the fun one, and then they had the pirate one. Still.
Well, after 4 and 5, they were just, I'm pretty sure. No, I'm sorry. 5, they did have old skins for the characters. I forgot. 6, they just like, no, this is just all colors.
Do you remember?
But then you had the character customization, so you could make custom costumes with that. But it's like, I kind of like when they were like, like made by like the artists and stuff, like designed.
Did you ever play Soul Calibur 4?
I did.
Do you remember who the guest characters were for those games?
Yeah, Starkiller, Yoda, and Darth Vader.
Yeah, like I just remember that while you were talking about that.
I wanted the Xbox version, but because I didn't have a second controller for the Xbox version, I was basically pressured into getting the PS3 version.
Well, the
Darth
PS3
Vader
version had Vader, and then I know they eventually added DLC of the others
for Yoda. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like
the Starkiller was on all versions.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty much just a promotion for the game.
It was like it even had a promotional video showing the first level where Vader's fighting the Wookiees and stuff.
I think even Starkiller's ending is like, obviously it's not canon to anything, but I think it even leads into like, this game where it's like he's basically on a mission by Vader, and now he's got another mission.
Well, yeah, I remember the ending, like he's supposed to bring back Soul Calibur and Soul Edge, and he doesn't, and Vader gets mad at him. And then like Vader realizes, oh, you want to challenge me? And it's like it just ends with Vader basically going, okay, you think you're hot shit, you think you can challenge me. And I think Starkiller took something from Algo, the guy who had both swords. Like, he took something from that and put it in his lightsaber. So I guess the implication is his lightsaber is more powerful now.
Yeah, it's really weird. And again, it was one of those things. This is very clearly not canon.
Yeah, it's not. It's straight up not. Though Vader was fun as shit in that game, though, with how he could just do crazy shit.
Yeah, one of his throw was literally like the Return of the Jedi throw, where he just picks you up and chunks you.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing flashy. He just picks you up with both hands and throws you on your head. And if you
Yeah.
did it just right, he chunked you off the side like nothing.
Yeah.
I remember that being like a very easy way to kill somebody if you were just like close to the edge.
I just remember they made Starkiller like the sub boss for like arcade mode, and my god, was he ridiculous!
Oh yeah.
Like I know he was the guest character, one of the guest characters, and everything, but it's like my god, this guy could fuck you up.
You know, as bad as he was, though, he still was small potatoes compared to the small potatoes, which is Yoda.
Yoda was
Yoda. I know Yoda. They like banned him from tournaments because he was like immune to horizontal attacks.
Yeah, you literally could just stand in certain spots and no one would hit you. Like your enemy just couldn't hit you.
And he was like immune to grabs too, if I remember correctly.
He wasn't immune. You couldn't reach him.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, you grab him. You just couldn't touch him.
Yeah, I was just like, my god, man.
But yeah, I remember. So yeah, like speaking with this game though, like when I remember the novel is the canon version, and I'm trying to remember exactly. Like, I know there's been like this is back before the Disney acquisition, but I know there were plans to include him in more stuff. Eventually.
Yeah, no, I think they were even gonna try to include him in Rebels at one point, but they were like, no, he would have been too ridiculous.
Even before that, I know they did like non. I guess I mean obviously it's non-canon, but like they did versions of him of what he would look like in the animated series. There was like what else was there? I think there was like a. Was there a comic book? I think there was a comic book, but I think it was for 2, so I don't think that counts really as much. But yeah, I do know like Rebels. They had plans to include him but they were going to be like Inquisitors, and I think even Filoni, because as much shit as I give Filoni, I think even he admitted is like that seemed like a waste of what they could be.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
they're just they're just Inquisitors seems kind of lame for giving.
Yeah, that does seem kind of lame.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that
I mean, I would love to have seen Starkiller, show up.
Oh
but,
shit, you're still alive.
like, don't get me wrong, but it's like, yeah, that would be kind of a waste. It's like, oh, we brought him back, and he's just an Inquisitor. Okay.
The only thing I don't like is that like, what's his name, Kanan, and Ezra from Rebels. To me, it seemed like they were trying to adapt some of their. It looked like they took Coda and Starkiller's story and kind of applied it to them. Especially Kanan and Coda. Like, Kanan and Coda are almost the same person in terms of, like,
Yeah.
surface level.
I got that vibe that Coda, as he kind of felt like Coda.
Like, he gets blinded by Maul, and, like, he basically loses his faith in the Order kind of after that, or at least kind of starts doubting it. And then, like, to me, it was too many surface level things that kind of made me think, like, you at least took inspiration from Coda.
Yeah.
Which told me that, like, Coda's never going to be canon again.
Which is a shame, because I like Coda.
Yeah, because, like, he's kind of basic in terms of who, like, character-wise, but that's mostly because of, like, this is back before they put too much emphasis on characters who, you kind of knew weren't really going to show up that often.
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, he's a character in a game, too. Like, I don't want to say minor, but he's not the main character.
Yeah, like... Because I noticed that there was a lot in, like, Legends in general, where it's like, if a character was, like, a main character, they got plenty of characterization. But if they weren't, it was like, they are who they need to be for the story. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Starkiller, Mara Jade, plenty of characterization. Side characters like Coda, no, not really.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I'd be a little bit nervous about them getting their hands on Mara Jade.
Oh, they would fuck that up.
Yeah.
They
I
fucked
mean,
that
she's
up.
supposed to get married to Luke Skywalker, and now that certainly isn't going to happen.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
she's
can't
a
happen
redhead.
now, can it?
And she's a redhead too, so no, there's that.
Yeah, you know, the ginger side must continue.
And I remember someone was saying it's like, Mara Jade was more than just Luke's wife. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, we
we know
know.
that, but
That's why people like her.
yeah.
Yes.
And not to mention, like her and Luke's relationship, even not on the romantic side, is a big deal because that's part of what makes her eventually become a Jedi.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm not
And
gonna
honestly,
lie.
I really like, because I was reading, I haven't read it the third one yet. I really like how she goes from like hating Luke in the first Thrawn trilogy to then kind of like she's like even at the end she's like, I still kind of hate you, but not as much.
Well, if I remember correctly, she's like, oh, that's where it came from.
And she also like lost her force powers, or at least like hiding them or suppressing them or something.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, she even tries to like she tries to challenge Vader, and like, or at least she's always trying to like one up Vader, but
Yeah.
even Palpatine's like, no, darling, no.
Like
no.
no.
There's a reason why he's my apprentice and you're not. Like it's not just because he's older than you. No, it's straight up because he's more powerful than you.
Yeah, no. Vader would, if you got into a fight with Vader, Vader would wreck. It wouldn't be a fight.
It'd be a massacre.
It'd be a massacre. It'd be a slaughter.
And even
Yeah,
then, I mean, if you take a look at Empire Strikes Back, I mean, the first two times Vader was not super serious. If you actually look at his fighting style, he's mostly using just one hand. He's messing with Luke at that point.
Yeah, he was fucking with Luke for like half that fight until Luke like kicked him into the thing. Then he was like, okay, now I'm actually gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, because I
that's when
remember
he starts
like,
using his force
basically
powers. And that's also when like that other part where he goes out the window and somehow survives. Good for him, by the way. And that's when he gets both hands on the lightsaber, and it's just like,
he's just wiggling on Luke's guard the minute he comes out of around the corner.
Well, because what happens is like Luke, he's toying with him, then Luke gets a hit on him, and in that moment, Vader's like, that's when he starts kind of taking it more seriously because he realized that he's been playing around too much. And that Luke isn't exactly, a pushover. Like
Luke can actually fight to some degree.
Yep.
Oh, die. Now I'm trying to do this just right because if I remember correctly, you can get a pretty sweet animation if you kill this Walker with the quick time event.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I gotta kill these guys first.
But I love how that fight, like, it's not like overly, because sometimes they make it like it's like overstated that, oh yeah, this character's fucking with you, but it's like no, it's not like obvious. It's obvious if you're paying attention, but it's not like told to you that Vader is just straight up toying with Luke for half of that.
Well, yeah, because he even says like impressive, like he's complimenting him as he fights, like. This is clearly someone who is not taking this fight seriously.
Yeah, he's clearly toying with Luke. Like, there's like moments where Luke attacks him and he just deflects and doesn't attack back at all. He just calmly just deflects. Luke is just standing like, okay. Like, okay, is that all you got something else?
Oh, god damn it. I'm trying to...
Now Vader is taking it seriously in episode 6, but Luke's kind of doing the whole no, you're good, I know it thing, and Vader's just like, dude, will you shut the fuck up? Yeah. Vader's like, dude, if you don't shut that up.
Ooh. Oh, sorry, dude.
Yeah, I'm trying to like...
Oh, I think the stream is like, I'm watching it on... Let me stop watching it on YouTube. So, oh.
Yeah, the stream is...
I guess hella delayed on YouTube.
I'm sorry about that, but goddamn, like... I'm trying to remember how to play this game, and it's like...
That's always the worst when you haven't played a game in a while and then you completely forgot how to play it.
I forget, like, you have a force meter. Like, you can't just spam force attacks, which I think that's what my problem was here.
Yeah, the blue meter.
And I'm already about to die. Oh. I forgot you can block. I
need to play what's the
Oh, thank you.
Fallen Order, I think, is the new.
That's a good game.
Yeah, I heard it was good. I have it. I just I just have not downloaded it.
The thing about Fallen Order that I have with it is that, like, because I liked Fallen Order, and what's funny is that I don't know if you guys saw that post where the guy was like talking like Fallen Order is like the best Star Wars game, and that was basically my inspiration for this stream.
Bruh.
And like, it's like Fallen Order is fine, but it's not the best Star Wars game.
You're like, I'm not gonna pretend that it's god awful, but like from what I've seen, it looks decent.
What it is for me, and I think a lot of people kind of don't recognize this, is that like, I'm about to die. Damn it. At the time when Fallen Order came out, like
there was like nothing.
There was no Star Wars.
That wasn't Battlefront.
That wasn't EA Battlefront 2, and it's like, I hate to say it about Fallen Order, but it was one of those games where it's like, it's very clear that, like, it was good by default. Like,
and it sold pretty decently. I think it sold as good, if not better, than Mortal Kombat 11.
Let me put it this way. I don't want to say it was good by default, because that's not
really fair to the game.
Yeah, it is a good game, but I think because there was almost nothing else in terms of Star Wars games, it was like elevated even higher.
It's like having an all right chick in a room full of like ugly chicks. It's like she's gonna look like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, like you're so starved for Star Wars related content. Here comes this along, and I know a lot of people were straight up like, "Oh my god, I hope they don't mess this game up. I hope they do decently." And then when it came out and it was moderately decent, everyone was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they actually pulled it off." And it's like,
I kind of feel like that's why a lot of people say Thor Ragnarok is really good, because it's like the other two Thor movies weren't very good. Even though I like the first Thor, but Thor 2 was just eh.
I'm probably one of the weird people who actually liked Thor 2. I recognize it's not good.
Like, there were moments in Thor 2 that I actually liked. Like, when the Dark Elves were storming Asgard, I was like, oh, this is cool. The thing that ruined it was when Thor's mom is just beating the shit out of Malekith, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like...
And then Thor hits him one time with the lightning, and it disfigures his face. It's like, bruh.
It's like, this is the guy who...
This is the villain?
Yeah,
and even when he got powered up with the ether, he really didn't seem that much more powerful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thor's just tanking his hits.
I mean, heck, the guy who, what do you call it? The guy who took
the cursed guy, yeah, he was way more of a threat to Thor than Malekith ever was.
I gotta be blunt. I mean, he seems like the most powerful guy in the entire thing. I mean, the guy was stabbed. I honestly think Hela would have difficulty with the guy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, again, he gets stabbed. That's not a problem. He could still keep going. And you could stab him again. And just like that, your head is...
But yeah, like, when it comes, like, again, with Fallen Order, another thing that didn't help is that, like, its gameplay was not unique. It was just...
It really felt like because I remember seeing when they first showed gameplay, I was like, this feels like you're trying to do Star Wars but Dark Souls.
That's exactly what it was. It was Star Wars but Dark Souls. And
it's like,
as
Jedi are supposed to be
Dark
fast.
Souls, it's like this doesn't really fit.
If it was more Bloodborne, I think it would have worked better, because, you know, Bloodborne's a lot faster. Well, not a lot, but it's noticeably faster than Dark Souls.
Yeah, and
which I think would have fit like Jedi more, because when you think Jedi, you think, like, you know, especially after the prequels, like, yeah, these guys are fast.
Yeah, and
I mean, they're fast enough that they can block lasers, like you, or at least anticipate where they are and be able to move in advance.
What also kind of bothered me was that, like, I get that, like, you know, you're not supposed to be overpowered, but I just felt so weak in that game. Like, I did not feel powerful. I did not feel like I was really using the Force. Like, the Force felt more like a puzzle-solving mechanic than it felt like a combat mechanic.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, I respect why you feel that way, but in some ways, I kind of give it more respect. But here's the reason why. I mean, Star Killer is supposed to feel like a power fantasy, but we have to remember not every Jedi was super powerful like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no one's. I don't think anyone was arguing that he needed to be as OP as Starkiller.
Oh no,
but,
he did not need to be as OP
fair
as.
enough. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, he did not need to be like that. Was kind of the point of Star Killer in a way, and not even just from like a gameplay standpoint, even from a story standpoint. Like
because remember, he's been trained by Vader his entire life, pretty much, specifically to kill people.
Yeah, trained by Vader to hunt down other Jedi and eventually help him kill the Emperor. Oh shit! I didn't realize I can fall. So it makes sense for him to feel overpowered and to be a little bit overpowered. Granted, again, in like the novel, he's mostly just skilled. He's not really overpowered. Like again, he gets his ass kicked by Vader the minute Palpatine finds out about him.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, that's kind of how it happened in the game, though Vader just straight up sucker punched him.
Yeah, and like that's kind of like the point. Like he doesn't really get strong enough to really fight Vader until the end. And that's mostly because he's kind of abandoned the dark side. He's more like, all right, I'm going to be a Jedi like my father before me. Hint, hint.
Yep.
You know, I actually think it'd be interesting to see someone who was a dark side user but wasn't like just straight up evil, you know?
Well,
yeah.
So the only thing about that is that I'm trying to remember where I'm supposed to go for this. Do I platform?
Because I know there's like gray Jedi that use like light and dark, which I think is pretty cool.
I'm not okay. So I know I had a conversation with someone about this, and
I think it was Slim. You had a conversation with someone about that.
I'm not a huge fan of that because, again, I'm one of those people where I don't think that's what the Force was meant to be. Because to me, it seems a little too. What's the term? It seemed a little too fanficky for me. Like, you could just what's to stop someone from doing either side? Like, why wouldn't someone just be like, I'm gonna be a gray Jedi? Why would I not like?
I kind of look at it as more of a like an argument of okay,
damn it.
You know, like being too much of either side is like not the best. You know, like
yeah. I think one way because I could be wrong about this. I think it was an interview. I might be wrong, so take it with a grain of salt. But I could have sworn that like there was like a thing where Lucas was saying like the dark side is not really like an opposite side. It's more like a corrupting force.
Yeah, I remember that he did say that at one point, and I think like over time it stopped being that.
Yeah, and I think the way that's what I always kind of foresaw it as is that like the dark side is more like a corrupting factor, and
that the light side was like the natural state of it,
but not necessarily like the Jedi and Sith were like the Jedi practice the light side, but they aren't exactly the light side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they're flawed too.
Oh god damn it! How did I get up here?
And kind of that interpretation works too, and I think like the case could be made for either.
Yeah, but because like because again, it just seemed too like wish fulfillment for someone to just be like, well, I'm just gonna be both, and it's like
I always thought the implication was it was extremely hard to be just like to be both. Like it was like only like a few people could really like do it, and even then, I kind of always viewed it as maybe they can use a little bit of the dark side, but not like most of it.
Well, because one thing I always said, and it's something you always see, especially in Legends. I don't know about Disney canon, but in Legends, a common theme for any decent Sith user was that they were horribly scarred.
Yeah,
like that was a constant thing. And I always took that as like that's kind of what it's supposed to be. Like having the dark side was not a good thing. It basically took the sacrifice of your body to utilize it.
I think there was actually a I think this was either in the Darth Plagueis book or someone. Actually, no, there's a point where Palpatine asked Plagueis about that. You know, like why does his face look like that? Basically, he didn't obviously word it that way, but he was saying that this is what happens when you embrace the dark side. And there was another explanation that that the dark side is like a it's like I guess like a stick of dynamite, like a candle with a very short fuse.
Yes, I remember.
So
that.
it's like it has a lot of power, but it takes a toll on you.
Yeah, because like when you consider like some of the more noteworthy Sith in Legends, you have like Vader, who's basically a walking he's just a cyborg essentially. He's more machine than man.
Yeah.
Palpatine, who's completely disfigured. Malek, who lost his freaking jaw.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other ones where it's like, what's the dude from Knights of the Old Republic 2?
Not Revan.
Revan?
Huh?
Okay.
Nihilus.
No, not Nihilus. Well, even Nihilus, because he's not even a physical being anymore.
Yeah, he
He's
became
just,
like a force wraith pretty much.
yeah, and he has to constantly feed. But there's another dude, Scion, I think what it was. Like his entire body is just royally destroyed, and he's just constantly in pain.
You know who's one Sith from old canon? I really like his design. Tulak Horde from Old Republic.
Oh yeah,
I think he's from I think he's more from the MMO, but that guy was apparently like one of like the greatest like Sith duelists or something.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Like I think he's one of them too, where his
body's like disfigured.
Yeah, like he's got a lot of disfigurement, and to me, it's like that was always the mark of a good Sith, because it's like this is what they had to go through in order to
that
get
or the eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, the eyes.
They always had those fucked up eyes. It's interesting that you never see, at least not in the movies, you never see Dooku with that, which I always thought was interesting.
Well, because the thing about Dooku, and this is more of a, this is more of a fan thing, because I've never seen it officially anywhere. But like Dooku was more of a dark Jedi.
Yeah, I don't think he fully embraced
Sith.
the dark side, honestly.
There's something else about that too that's kind of interesting. There's, I think it was in Legends. I don't think they kept it in canon, but in Legends, they were talking about one of the reasons why. And I think maybe this was actually in the Plagueis story, but Palpatine intentionally got Dooku so that he wouldn't have to fight him, because if what do you call it? Palpatine had to fight Dooku in a fair fight, Dooku would win. He's that good of a duelist, so he didn't rely on dark force powers because he was a far better duelist, and that's why he wasn't quite so scarred.
I also think like the Sith eyes have to do with being like overcome with rage too, and Dooku never did that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he never was visibly angry.
Yeah.
Like the closest he got was maybe slightly annoyed, but you never saw him like visibly enraged.
Yeah, that's one thing that always kind of bothered me, because I know like some people kind of say Dooku was just a placeholder for Anakin, which I guess you can kind of see it as that, but to me it's also like it's not like Dooku was a pushover.
No, I mean he fucked up Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah,
pretty good at episode 2, and was holding his own against Yoda for a little bit. I mean, I kind of get the impression if that fight had kept going, Yoda would have won, and Dooku kind of realized it.
Yeah,
which is why he ran for it. But it's like, nah, he was holding his own at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm. He might not be as good of a duelist as Dooku. This is Yoda, but he was much stronger in the Force. But at the same time, Dooku, the way that he was a duelist, could take down Darksiders, even though they haven't been seen for thousands of years. I put that in quotes.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
here's
anyway,
another. Oh,
yeah.
hold on a second. DJ's here. My bad, man. I didn't even see you there.
Oh, sorry.
But one thing
it's all good.
pointed out. Backtunes pointed out, like what's his name, Cal. Like it took you levels just to force jump and force push and stuff like that. Like,
oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember that, and I get like that was probably mostly game mechanics / part of the narrative, because he wasn't even he was still a Padawan, technically speaking. He wasn't like fully trained. Yeah, like Order 66 happened while he was still training, but to me, like, it was a little, I don't want to say frustrating, because I get the intent that they were going for, but it just seems so like it just kind of like was like not fun. Like, come on, like again, as someone who's not a Jedi, sitting here being like, come on, man, you can't even force push. Yeah, that seems like one of the early skills you'd learn. Yeah, but again, like narrative speaking, like it makes sense. Like he literally Order 66 happened the day of his training.
Yeah, I mean, narrative. That's kind of what those problems that you have when games focus too much on story. Sometimes is it's like they end up sacrificing the gameplay for the sake of the plot.
Right.
Like that's kind of one of my beefs with The Last of Us, because it's like, okay, you have this cool ass concept for zombies. It's like, dude, if you gave this to like Capcom, they would go fucking nuts with all the zombie types and stuff, with the fungus and stuff. Even though they kind of did that with 8 and 7 anyway, but still.
Yeah, because like.
But the enemy variety in the first one was so lackluster. It was like, aside from the clickers, which even then the clickers got old real quick because there was an upgrade you could get that just made it so as long as you had a shiv, they didn't insta kill you.
Yeah, and I remember, like, you know, I give shit to The Last of Us 2 all the time, but I know like the only thing that seemed cool to me was the Rat King. That like,
yeah, that thing. I was like, okay, that was good. I'll give you credit. That looks awesome.
And
that's like someone was copying
like,
Resident Evil homework, and it looked pretty decent.
To me, The Last of Us has the Walking Dead syndrome.
Where it does.
Like, it's like, here's this apocalypse full of zombies. What are we gonna focus on? The
humans. Honestly, that's why I hated that game, because it's like, this is just Last of Us, but the zombies are a fungus infection.
Man is the scariest monster.
Yeah, I fucking hate that trope. It's like, what if we're the real monsters? Like, shut the fuck up.
No,
like, you're not deep. Shut the fuck up.
Was it Left 4 Dead 2? What if we're the real monsters? And all the graffiti is like, no, you idiots, the zombie.
Yeah, like, shut the hell up.
Shut up, you idiot. Oh man, like
just take your pseudo intellectualism to a liberal arts college or some shit, man.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna put on one of these costumes just to fuck around with.
You know, what's one thing I didn't like with the costumes was that you had to go back to a checkpoint if you changed costume.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh well. So I'm gonna hold off on that.
If I remember correctly, at least on the PS3 version, you did.
I'm gonna take your word for it. I'll just wait till
I don't know if it was the same on the Xbox version. Because I remember reviews were complaining about that, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound that bad. Then it's like, oh no, that is actually pretty bad.
Like, it would make sense if you were actually that character, like your moveset changed, maybe.
Yeah.
But you're not.
It's just a cosmetic thing, but I guess it's because of, to be fair, this was like an early Xbox 360 PS3 game. So I guess they hadn't figured out like the good optimization tricks. I don't think this was again, I don't think this was a problem in the second one. I don't remember if it was.
Yeah, the second one, I will say this, like, the story-wise, it's very short, it's ridiculous, but graphically, that game looks fantastic.
Yeah, they really stepped their game up with the graphics, and I didn't even think. I remember thinking Force Unleashed looked awesome, but then going back to it, I was like, yeah, this really didn't age very well when it came to faces.
Yeah,
like the animations are good, but the faces, no.
Yeah, this game looks all right, but like it's like once you get to like the finer details, that's which I would say is the thing for a lot of games.
Yeah,
when you get to like the finer details, start noticing some of the shortcomings.
How even now, like games to me, like when the game gets too close to the characters' faces, you can just it starts hitting that uncanny.
Oh, you know what's one game that's a good example of this, and God damn it. I'm sure you could make a bet about how many times I bring this up, but Dead Space.
Dead Space, yeah. The first one, especially.
Like, it looks really good, but once you get like up close, that's when you start seeing the character models. Some of them are pretty low res, low texture.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is one of those games too, where it's like this looks good. Like,
yeah, like around, if you're like not staring at it for a long time and zooming in, it looks fine.
I was gonna say like if you look closer, I don't even think he's like blinking. I think he's just kind of like.
I don't think he is either. It's kind of hard to see it from here.
This is it. Kotor is just
oh, speaking of Dead Space, and I think I said this on my last Dead Space stream, but this is a pet peeve I'm starting to hate with YouTube. If you look up graphical mods, everyone will say RTX, and it's like, this fucking game's engine did not support ray tracing. Stop lying. All you did was reshade and redo some of the lighting. And change like the contrast. Like, this isn't ray tracing.
One thing I will say though, what upgrade
like this is clickbait. Stop fucking lying.
What was I gonna say though? Sorry, I'm just going through my stuff because I don't like having points unspent.
Yeah. Because I was trying to see if there was any like retexture mods for Dead Space. You know, maybe
there are some.
There are some because I couldn't find any that were just like claiming to be RTX. It's like no, all you did was change contrast and some lighting settings.
Well, there was one I saw. I saw a video of it. I don't know if it was on Nexus or anything like that, but it almost looked like the remake, like that little preview they gave.
Oh damn!
It looked so good, but I think a lot of it was a lighting change. And to me, I remember I had this discussion talking to somebody about like Fear 1. How
Fear 1 has some damn good lighting.
And I was thinking like the lighting is such an important thing for a lot of games is because it automatically starts making your environment look more
realistic.
And it's it's just the lighting.
And for someone who's learning how to do shit in Blender, I'll tell you right now, like some stuff, if I just throw it in with like very basic lighting, it looks terrible. But then it's like you throw in some good lighting on it, and it's like, oh, this actually looks pretty good.
Dude, look at this. This is like a build up to. This is a true build up to a boss fight, like that tower rising.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think a code is just like Vader sends a boy to fight me,
and then gets his ass kicked by.
Gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, but
it just reminds me of this one video about This is video of this guy, this YouTuber, who did this video about how Vegeta is like one of the most not Vegeta, I'm sorry. Frieza's one of the most disrespected villains in anime. Because like after like the first arc with him, he just gets his ass beat. Yeah. He's talking about in Super during the Tournament of Power thing when Frieza was talking mad shit to one of the gods of destruction. He's like, don't talk shit to somebody you don't know, because this dude went from looking like the Lorax to looking like he just got out of parole. Yes, because of course, you know, Dragon Ball, like people start off with these goofy looking forms and they get like this scary looking form all the way through the fight for some reason.
I will say this though, if they ever were to remake this game, I would love if the lightsaber combat got a little bit more like fine-tuned. Because right now it is very much like button mashing lightsaber swings as opposed to like real combos and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know what's one thing that, and I know I get why they do it, but it always bugs me with Star Wars games?
What's up?
How like you actually hit the person with the lightsaber to damage them, and it's like, you know, it doesn't actually just outright kill them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would love if like, I know one of the games did that. I can't remember which one, where it's like,
I have to go through you to get to Vader.
oh shit. I can't remember what it was. I know there's one game where they kind of do that, where it's like you hit someone in the arm with a lightsaber, their arm comes off. Like that's the end of it. And I know why they don't do it, but I would love to play a Star Wars game that did that, where it's like, no, you get hit by this lightsaber blade, you're over. It's over.
Here's what I would do. I would make it so like your health when like you're in a duel is actually like your guard, pretty much.
Oh,
so it's like you're blocking, but that gauge is going down, and if you don't, you know, do something about it, you like your opponent gets to your guard and kills you.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and you can even have it where like certain attacks like do more damage to guard or something.
Did you ever play the episode 3 movie game?
Yeah, that game was the shit.
That was I remember playing it like when I was getting ready for this, and I was like, oh man, I remember some of those like
those combos.
Yeah, and then like it had like a multiplayer mode, which was basically a Star Wars fighting game.
Yeah, that was like straight up. If someone was like, "What if we made a fighting game in this?" I remember my friends used to hate me on that game because I would just pick Grievous and just get the 4 lightsaber ability and just start steamrolling them because I knew all the combos that ended in unblockable attacks. So it was like, even if they blocked me, it's like, bruh.
That was a game where the alternate costumes were like you were saying earlier about
I can sense your future.
like
they were actual like alternate
what ifs.
Yeah, like there was one where Vader was a good guy and he had like a blue lightsaber and brown armor, and then there was one where
Anakin,
like,
but he had his Sith lightsaber instead of turning into Vader before becoming a Sith. There was Grievous, but Sith, like he had black armor
and red lightsabers.
There was good Count Dooku, like Jedi Count Dooku.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the one for old Obi-Wan was, because it was one for him too.
I think his other one was old Obi-Wan, maybe.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. His old, I think. No, but old Obi-Wan was like a separate character, I think.
Oh, I gotta
remember.
see back when Star Wars games were like just
The shit.
yeah.
The one thing I love that's a
and
little
also-
funny detail.
Also engaging.
Yeah. There was a funny detail because you could unlock because you could replay levels and you could unlock, you know how in episode 3, Palpatine, when he gets off the throne to fight the Jedi, he does that weird corkscrew shit for no reason.
That was the Senate.
That was a move in the game. And Anakin could learn it. And the thing is, if you did it in a mission where like Anakin was still a Jedi, like if you went back and replayed a mission where Anakin's a Jedi and Obi-Wan's with you, Obi-Wan would say that's not a Jedi technique. Like, he would flat out say it like, dude, that's not, what are you doing?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like to me, Star Wars, like EU, like when EU was like the expanded canon, to me it felt like there was more fun to be had.
Yeah.
Shit like that, where like that doesn't make a lick of sense. Like, oh man, like I miss
Like Anakin straight up force corkscrewing through the air at people. Makes no goddamn sense.
Oh man,
And I
I
just
remember-
love that Obi-Wan, he would say it very casually too. It's like, that's not a Jedi technique.
You know who doesn't get enough love? This droid here, Proxy.
Oh, Proxy was awesome.
Like
Oh,
his entire
Proxy,
character,
yeah.
his entire character, because he's Starkiller's like only friend.
I really like his
And
costume, by the way, with
he-
the
He
heavy armor.
wants to kill Starkiller. Like he wants to kill him, but he doesn't understand the fact that if he kills Starkiller, their friendship ends.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't.
But he's still
understand that
nice
concept.
to Stark. He's like, I can't wait to kill you. And it's like, bruh.
Yeah, I skipped the cutscene, but there's a part where he ambushes. Oh god damn it! I just killed myself. There's like a part where he tries to ambush Starkiller with an old like Obi-Wan training protocol,
Yeah.
and it's so funny. Like he's like, I failed this time, but I'll get you next time, Master. I'll kill you again. I'll try to kill you again next time. And then you can see Starkiller's kind of like, sure.
Yeah, sure, buddy. Sure.
And then
But I love the part before you bring out the Death Star, Star Destroyer, or that part
Is there anything nearby you can
where you're fighting him again, and he's like, I have one configuration even you haven't seen. It's fucking
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
was
Darth
fantastic.
Maul.
that, because it's not in the PSP, PS2 version.
Oh, sorry, man.
It's such
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not. It's such a
Aw.
like. I don't even think. Wait, I'm trying to remember if his boss fight is in the game at all. But it's such a fan service thing because that was back. Maul was ever back in any form of canon. Maul was
Yeah.
just dead.
And then they start
And
playing
so
Duel
when
of
I-
Fates, and I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I remember. So, like I said, I played the PSP version first. Eventually, I played the 360 version, and I remember getting to that point, and I was just thinking, like, I remember losing my mind at that.
Yeah,
That
I
shit
actually
was
had
so
to-
wild.
I actually I think I put the controller down, pausing and put the controller down for a second when he just went full Darth Maul and that music started playing. I was like, ah shit. It's just like, ah shit.
I'll deal with them.
Like it was straight up fan service. It was the best kind. Because I don't think anyone expected him to just pull out Darth Maul like that.
Because he comes out of nowhere. Because again,
certainly,
Darth
it
Maul-
wasn't surprised when that happened.
what the fuck? I did not see him picking that up.
Because
But
it's
he kept,
kind of
like-
like one of those things where it's like, where would you even get data on Darth Maul at this point?
Well, I mean, like this was back when like the Sith were a bit more like. It seemed like the Sith were a bit more connected.
Yeah.
in my opinion. Like, I think
Because it
even in
seems like
some-
Palpatine and Plagueis had this whole plan.
well, yeah, because like in the original EU, like Palpatine knew about like old ancient Sith, like he knew them by name and stuff, and I think Vader knew some of them too. Like he would teach Vader about them,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and again, it felt more connected. And I know like Darth Bane was one of them.
Oh yeah, the
Mhm.
Bane.
I'm Bane.
Yeah.
Meow.
Actually-
Bring justice to the
Actually-
galaxy.
Yeah, actually, fairly recently, Professor B finished covering the Darth Bane trilogy on his channel.
Yeah, the Darth.
See, I
Bane-
actually have the books like digitally, and I need to actually like read them. Because I was reading, I read the second of the Thrawn trilogy, which was really good. Because I never
yeah.
read them as when they were, still canon. everyone said they're really good. I could never find them for some reason.
It's the man trying to keep you from enjoying Star Wars. Where did I go?
Yeah, but no matter how many times we try, the original expanded universe will always be the true continuation of Star Wars after.
And what
the
I find
prequel
funny
and
was when
original
Kathleen Kennedy was complaining there wasn't a lot of something. I was like, bitch, you decanted half of it.
Yeah, like there's no.
You decanted half of it. What the
And
fuck?
she's the jerk who said, "Well, there's no any kind of guides or any kind of reference material." I'm just like,
bruh.
really?
Like,
What
you
happened to the
decanonized
last
it.
20 fucking years?
It's like, bruh.
One thing I was gonna say though is like, oh, what the hell? What is over here? Is this a shortcut? No, it's not. It's not a shortcut. There's probably some secret over here. No.
I was like, are you for real? Like, you're fucking with us, right?
Well, because like,
it's showcase her cognitive dissonance. Like she doesn't acknowledge on what she did in decanonizing the expanded universe.
I think it would have been better if they had just not said they were decanonizing it and just kind of just left it up in the air. Like, it's like, okay, we're gonna say if it shows up in a movie or in our stuff, and then assume it's canon.
To play devil's advocate, it kind of makes sense from a storytelling perspective.
It does.
If you're making your own new set of stuff for something to decanon what came before. However, at first, I thought what they were gonna do is just slowly reintroduce those things.
That's what I was hoping they were gonna do. Is like, okay,
as time
yes.
went on. I didn't
Or
think
they were going to introduce most of it.
I didn't think they were just going to be like, oh, this is no longer canon. And instead of reintroducing these stories, we're just going to introduce the characters in moments where it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah.
Like,
because there's so much shit that happened. It's like, yeah, it'd be really hard to make a new like series, like Star Wars thing around that, without just straight up adapting it.
Like, is even Knights of the Old Republic is not even like canon, but
But it's so weird because Knights of the Old Republic is so far removed. You could make it canon, and it probably wouldn't affect that much.
But again, I think they're doing that because they know like that's an era that they can like do all sorts of stuff with, or they don't want to touch it because they know a lot of people will associate with
when Star Wars was actually good.
Yeah, like was it like High Republic? Like, come on, that is so.
That shit is so.
That is so obviously like this is our answer to Old Republic, but it's not as good.
No.
Yeah, and it's pretty much one of the reasons why people keep the distance from High Republic because they can smell the bull crap.
Yeah. You know what? You know what I actually thought they were gonna do when Disney bought Star Wars? What I would have done, honestly.
What?
I would have done a trilogy. And this again, it would be a prequel trilogy, but before the prequels. Because remember when Palpatine says once more the Sith will rule the galaxy? So why don't we show that? Like, what if we had an entire trilogy from like the perspective of the Sith?
Well, because again, that's what
that could actually work.
That's kind of what Knights of the Old Republic was like.
Yeah, kind of.
This is what happened when the Sith were last like in charge of the galaxy.
Like, it could be like from a perspective like a Sith. Like the first movie could be a Sith like in training or something, and then like the second movie, or even at the end, towards the end of the first movie, it could be like the Jedi starting to become a threat, and then as the series progresses, it's like the fall of the Sith.
Well, because here's another thing that kind of bothers me, and I know it's never going to happen, is that because they've already changed the Sith homeworld
from Korriban, I think is what it's called.
Korriban to freaking
from Korriban.
Exegol, which
that
was so fucking dumb.
Yeah,
it comes off as like we're trying to establish our own canon, as opposed to the canon that's already there. And again, I kind of get where you're coming from a storytelling perspective, but at the same time, it's like you already have this. Why would you change it?
And honestly, the whole Exegol thing was so stupid because it's like, who the fuck are all these people on this planet with Palpatine? Are they all Sith?
Now,
because it's like, bro, you literally could have conquered the whole galaxy with all these fucking Sith just sitting here.
So here's something stupid, and it's one of the things I don't like about Disney canon, is that I feel like a lot of their God damn it, I did not mean to chase him off the side. I feel like a lot of their expanded material, like their comics and stuff, are filling in plot holes to the movies as opposed to like what it was
just being their own thing.
Yeah, where like the EU, like if the EU ever addressed something, it was more like it wasn't so much as filling a plot hole as it was just expanding on what was already
it.
there. Like, you know how like I'm trying to think of like a good example of it. Well, the one that I was thinking of that made me think of what you were talking about is in the latest Darth Vader run, he goes to Exegol, and they kind of answer who those guys are. It's like they're basically like a bunch of Sith like worshippers. They're not really Sith, but they're like.
So there's just a bunch of Sith worshippers just hanging out on this like
they're Sith groupies,
volatile planet. They're Sith simps, basically, or aficionados or something.
And then what's his name?
Boys.
What's that assassin dude from the movies where it's like he was like Palpatine's assassin, but you never heard of him, so you're like, who the fuck is this guy?
I don't remember.
Orochi or something.
Wait, they actually have a character called Orochi?
Yeah, like he kills Rey's parents. That guy.
Oh,
he's
I know
already dead
from what do you call it? The Last Skywalker, not the Last Skywalker.
Yeah, Rise
of the Skywalker.
Rise of
No, sorry, Rise of the Palpatine.
Yeah, no, Palpatine Rising.
Yeah, he's in it. Like he's there, and like he's an assassin. He's like a character who was sent after Vader as some part of a test of his. And again, it comes off as like, all right, this doesn't feel like a natural thing. This feels like you're trying to address a plot hole as where the hell did this guy come from?
I remember they keep fucking retconning Snoke. Like at one point, it's like, oh, he's Palpatine's Falcon. Then it's like, nope, psych, he's a clone of Luke when Luke got his arm cut off by Vader or some shit. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, you motherfuckers can't keep doing this shit.
Yeah, that's the thing where, again, the Vader story addresses that where he brought Luke's hand to Exegol, and it is very much implied. It doesn't outright say it, but it is very much implied that that's where the Snoke clone comes from. And it's like...
One, why is the clone that fucking deformed?
And again,
looks nothing like Luke at all.
Him, like, Snoke just being a guy who studied the dark side and got really good at it is far more interesting.
Okay, Ochi,
yeah.
I'm about to say, like he's like, you just straight, that's a straight up Japanese word. Orochi.
Like
I'm pretty sure that's a mythological character too.
Like Snoke just being a guy who studied the dark side and got really good at it is far more interesting than him being a clone of somebody.
Yeah, that's just lame. I remember when everyone was like, oh, Snoke is Plagueis, and I was like, honestly, I would take that.
You know, I actually heard one rumor that it was actually a deformed version of Mace Windu as well.
I heard that too.
And I'm like, bruh.
I was like, man,
I would have taken it. At this point, I would have taken it.
Mace?
Like, he should have just died with the fall. And I don't mean that in like a storytelling perspective. I think like, Mace, man, you look better when you were just dead.
Yeah, I was like, Mace, you should have just stayed dead, bro.
You know, I'm not going to worry about collectibles because it's like, I can always come back, replay this and do it.
Yeah, Mace Windu should have just stayed where he was. There's a meme where it's when Mace is telling Anakin to take a seat, and Anakin says, "Find Mace Windu," and Mace Windu's like, "I don't get it." He goes, "Oh, you will soon." It's shockingly funny. It's like Anakin smirking, and the image, like the next image, is a zoom in with things. It's shockingly funny. It's like, God damn it, Anakin. It's like, I wish this happened, even though it make no goddamn sense. You kind of just like, I wish this would happen.
Oh man. But
I remember there was even a theory that Snoke was secretly Luke somehow, and I was just like, okay, I don't know about that.
That's just reaching.
I remember that was like, I remember having so many conversations with people talking about like that. Who's Snoke? Like, who could he be? And honestly, that was more fun than every answer we got, which, you know, is really nothing when you really look at the movie.
Yeah, it was like a straight up nothing.
Yeah.
You know, well, did you hear what they were originally planning with The Last Jedi? And it actually wasn't as bad as things were going on. Like,
I know.
oh, what's up?
I heard the original plans for episode 9 was a Duel of the Fates,
That would have been
where they
awesome.
go back to Coruscant and the old Jedi Temple. Like that was That sounded really interesting.
Yeah, they really were like trying to not ignore like the prequels ever happening, which was also kind of annoying.
Yeah.
As someone who actually like legit likes the prequels, even if flaws and all, it's like I legit like the prequels.
Like personally, to me, and this might be conspiracy theory. I kind of don't care at this point, but to me, it kind of felt like Disney was very adamant with trying to get people to think of the sequel trilogy as the main trilogy and ignore everything else. Because when you look at like the status quo at the end of those movies, it's the same as they were at the end of
Return of the Jedi.
The original trilogy. Like,
are you picking up anything?
What do you call it? Like,
there's only one Jedi left.
There's one Jedi left. The Empire has been defeated. Palpatine has been destroyed, and like now it's implied that like the last Jedi will rebuild the Jedi Order better than what it was beforehand.
You know what? And here's the thing that kind of that might have actually worked with the High Republic. I think it would have worked better. As much as I freaking hate it, I think it would have worked better 400 years in the future instead of 400 years in the past. Because if they decide,
that would have been better.
Because if they decide to change with the Force and all that,
would have been better.
It could have been like, okay, this is Rey's fault, but at least they tried something new, I guess, and it's not fucking with the original. Because now, when they go back to the status quo in in the prequels, it's like it either means one of two things. It either means that the experiment with trying all the stuff that they did in the High Republic was so stupid that they basically had to go back to standard and to try and fix everything. Or two, it means that things were going well with the High Republic, but because Yoda was incapable of change, he put things back to the status quo, making it so that the Sith could take over eventually. So either way, it's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it's one of those where like
it kind of is one of the problems you have when you make a prequel story is you are very limited on what you can do.
Which is
if you're making it directly tie into the original.
Yeah, which is why Knights of the Old Republic was so great, because it was so far into the past, it didn't matter.
Yeah, it had like no effect on really anything else.
It was 1,000 years into the past. Like nothing that happened there would matter in like the main story. Like at the most, it would just be a couple of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it gives context to how things came to be after 1,000 years in the past.
Yeah, because like I know at the most it kind of just gives you a hint at like what the Sith used to be and what Palpatine is kind of like referring to when he speaks of like the ancient history of the Sith.
Yeah, when he says the Sith will rule the galaxy, he's like, this is what he meant.
And even the MMO, like again, it's a bit more like, in my opinion, it's a bit more outlandish in some of the things it presents, because like, don't they have that guy Vitiate, who's basically like an immortal Sith Lord, who I think he's also supposed to be the Sith that corrupted Malek and Revan.
And Revan, yes.
Yeah, he's the reason why they became Sith Lords.
Yeah, Vitiate, I think he would basically like body hop or something. I think that's what he would do.
Yeah, like he would like soul transfer into a new body, and like the version you see in like the MMO is not like, that's like his like fourth body or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah,
because I remember watching because I never played that game, but I remember watching like all the trailers, and it's like, yo, these fucking trailers put all the shit in the sequel trilogy to shame.
Oh my god, yeah. And that made me so
like
mad.
I would watch a movie of just that, of like that level of animation. I would watch that.
I'm gonna pause for a second because I'm about to go on a rant. This annoyed me so much, because back when Visions was first came out, whatever you want to call it, I remember I was one of those people who had said like, this looks kind of dumb. Like, I'm not trying to hate on it because I haven't seen it yet, but a lot of what they kind of presented looked just kind of dumb. Like, to me, I get like, it's non-canon, you get to kind of have fun with it, but to me, non-canon doesn't mean unrecognizable, and that was kind of my angle. And I remember people kept saying like, certain people. I'm not saying there's a lot of people saying that. I'm just saying certain people were going like, oh well, like you guys are holding Star Wars back, like all the old fans. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Have you seen?
Bro, we've been propping this shit up.
Have you not seen
For
the stuff in the
decades.
EU? Like freaking
Mhm.
Death Troopers, like was a story about Star Wars zombies.
Yeah,
Don't sit
that
here and
was
tell
pretty
me-
ridiculous.
Don't sit there and tell me we're also closed-minded that we
Yeah.
won't accept outlandish stories. No, it's like there's got to be a good balance between it's unique to Star Wars and it's but still recognizable to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Not to
Like,
mention,
Yeah.
not to mention the whole idea that we can hold the thing back. How?
How are we
You are the
holding it
ones
back?
that- yeah, you are the ones that are in charge of this. You are the ones who.
And you
can
clearly
see how
don't
the
listen
content
to us, because if you did, it's like the series wouldn't be in the state it's in. Now let's be honest, Visions is a desperate attempt because they know anime is popular as fuck right now. It's
And I
their
hate-
attemp to try and cash in on that, which is
And I
why
hate-
part of me, and this is gonna sound fucked up, part of me hopes Visions doesn't do well because I don't want Disney getting their hands in that shit.
Well, because here's my
Well,
issue.
And I
with
know that sounds kind of
Visions.
fucked up.
Here's my
but-
issue with Visions is that like everyone keeps saying like, oh, well, you know, like Star Wars, it was inspired by Japanese stories, so it's only natural for it to be anime. It's like, listen,
Listen.
Japanese samurai films were only part. of
Yeah,
the
that was
inspiration
that
of
was
the
part of it. Don't get me wrong, and obviously, I think some of the philosophy is based on like Eastern stuff, but there's way more to it than that.
Yeah,
That's very ignorant
Yeah,
to say
but-
that it's just that thing. Like, no, he grabbed from a bunch of shit, which is honestly what all writers do.
Mhm.
and not to mention like some of the Vision stuff, like the one I saw. I haven't seen all of it. I'm probably gonna try to watch it. I just don't want to have to pay for it.
Yeah, same. Like it's like I'm
one of it
probably
is,
gonna
like-
just look it up somewhere.
It's literally a samurai movie with lightsabers painted.
Is
over
it the one with
samurai
like the like this has like a princess or something in it?
I don't remember exactly.
Because I
but
remember one where it's like that just looks like a samurai with a laser sword.
And I remember thinking, like, dude, like, no, like, don't sit here and talk about, like, oh, this is so totally Star Wars. Like, it's just samurai swords painted with a lightsaber color. Like, that is not, like, that alone is
Yeah,
not
it's-
Star Wars. Like, stop saying that. Like,
I hate to sound like a gatekeeping elitist, but it really feels like this shit is like baby's first anime for a lot of people.
Yeah.
yeah, and, but
Yeah, I
plus,
mean,
like,
the first episode of Visions was not bad. However, it doesn't have enough to really get me into it because I can tell this is just Disney's last ditch attempt to get like the old fans back, but they're not gonna play their head games.
It's not even trying to get the old fans back. It's trying to cater to the weebs.
that
Yeah.
was some heavy lag for me. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that lag. I was about to say something. That lag was getting a little.
But one thing that gets me though is that oh man, what was it? So like, have you guys ever seen because I'm a big Halo fan, and I remember Halo a while back. They had Halo Legends.
Yeah, I actually have the DVD of that.
I have it too, and
Yeah,
I loved
I
it.
think
And
I thought it
I've
was
seen
pretty
Halo
decent.
Legends.
There was some shorts I didn't particularly care for. I thought were kind of amp, but I liked
And I
it.
remember talking to someone about it at my comic shop, and it was like, and I was saying like, I wasn't too excited for Visions, and he asked me about Halo Legends, and I loved it. And he was like, "So what's the difference?" I say, "Well, for one, at the time, Halo didn't have any other stories. Like Halo at the time, it was just the games
And the
some
books.
novels. Like, and most
But
of
some
the
of those
novels-
books were pretty good.
and
Yeah,
a lot
but
of,
all
a
the
lot of
comic
novels
books.
were basically like.
Oh yeah, they're right. There were comic books. You're right. I forgot about
Well,
that.
even before that, at the time, I think you had The Flood, which was basically a retelling of Halo 1. First Harvest, which was like the prequel to everything. It was like the start of the Covenant War.
You have Fall of Reach, which is no longer canon,
Well, it's sort of canon. It's
Wait,
like,
sort
really?
of,
it's
because like
sort of
Reach,
canon.
like the game, kind of contradicts a lot of stuff that happened in there. So it's kind of like I don't know if I don't think it's like 100% non-canon.
And even
but,
the
like-
show, Fall of Reach kind of messes with the book's timeline as well.
Yeah,
So, but basically, like at the time, Halo Legends, it didn't have like that was it. Like there was no real expanded Halo stories outside of the books. It was pretty much the games,
and a couple
books,
comics in
and
the
then
books.
Halo Legends. Actually, I think the comic book, the original Halo graphic novel, came out around the time of Legends.
Hmm.
But so it's not the same thing as Star Wars, where Star Wars has had a lot of stories that have come out that have been like extra material, like as opposed to Halo Legends. Like Halo Legends is like you have the context of this is really the first outside of main storytelling Halo that you're gonna get. To where Star Wars is like we've seen this a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
The books, the games, the TV shows, like the comics. There's been a lot of extra material. So
Plus the
Visions-
whole drive behind it feels way too. I don't know Halo Legends, of course, it was corporate too, but it wasn't as overt as it feels with Disney shit.
Well, again, it came out at a time where, like, Halo Legends. What's another one that has that?
I'm trying
The
to think
Animatrix.
Oh yeah, Animatrix. Animatrix is good.
Yeah,
What was the other one that I was
Hard to
thinking of?
watch sometimes, but good.
The Chronicles of Riddick, Dark Fury.
Oh yeah, Dark Fury. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, like it came out at a time where like this was an experimental thing. Now,
Yeah, it
Visions
was
is
like
this
the-
isn't experimental. Like we've seen this done a dime a dozen times. So it's not like they're trying anything risky. Like at the most, you could probably make an argument that some of the stories are risky, but again,
They're
always
like
have
not canon, so
that's like the same defense I keep hearing. Oh, it's not canon. It's like, okay, so why should I care?
exactly. It's like, okay, what?
If you're talking from a strictly, oh, this is just a cool visual standpoint, fine. Go ahead and give that. But again, if it's
There's no point getting invested in it, though. Really.
Yeah, and if we're talking from a purely visual standpoint, then if the visuals don't live up to what I would like to see, then like the lightsaber umbrella. I don't care what anybody says. That's stupid.
It's dumb, but I'm kind of like, okay, this is so dumb. I just kind of laugh at it, and I kind of like meant to say I can give this a pass because again, not canon. It's clearly just they were having fun with this shit.
I'm one of those people where it's like, at first I didn't think much of it. I thought, oh, this looks kind of silly, but whatever. But now, because so many people are like, oh, you don't like this? Well, you're just boring. I was like, all right, motherfucker. Now I'm just done with this.
Yeah.
Like, other people.
You know what's one thing I hate, and this is like a problem with a lot of fans of the sequels. I'm not saying all of you, in case any of you're watching, I'm not saying all of you are like this. Mostly the ones on Twitter is they can't say a good thing about the sequels without shitting on the originals.
Yeah, it's
or
like
the prequels. You can't. They can't do it.
Yeah,
It's pretty much
yeah,
almost
because they know that this sequel trilogy is not good, and
Because if it was good, you wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, like to me, it's very
So
telling.
if they ever say anything to the contrary to what is popular, they follow her mentality.
And this is I say this to anybody for any fandom, anything. Like if your defense of your favorite thing is to put another one down, then to me that's
not a defense.
That's not a defense. That's you deflecting.
Yeah, that's not a defense.
And I say this for people who I say this for because I've done it before where I try to defend something, and I'll address
Oh yeah, I used to do this when I was in middle school and high school and shit. Like I would defend something by ripping on something else or something similar to it.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not a good argument. You're supposed to grow out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like argue the merits of your own thing without putting something else down. If you want to do a comparison, well, let me compare you how these two scenes were executed. That's one thing.
That's different. Like I understand if you're doing that, but it's these broad general just putting down the original. Clearly, not much thought was put into it.
Yeah. You're not really articulating your argument and bring up evidence to help back up your claims.
Yeah. Like there are people who they go after they'll shit talk the prequels, but it's like they give you good reasons why, or at least enough where it's like I see your thought process here on why you didn't like the certain things that maybe didn't bug me that much.
And I always say this about the prequels, say what you will about the prequels in terms of execution. When it comes to the actual story, on paper they're flawless.
Yeah, on paper they're actually really good. Yeah. It's just there's problems mostly the dialogue. I think is what really killed it.
Yeah,
with some of the dialogue.
Idea of Palpatine basically goading both sides of the war in order to ensure the Sith came out on top. Like that's insanity. Like
Which
that's like,
him manufacturing a crisis to get more power is honestly much more scary now
Yeah.
than it was back then,
like, and what's
and
even
like more
crazier is that,
relevant
like,
now. I think.
Oh yeah.
and because when you really think about it, like he could not have lost that situation.
No, he couldn't.
He could not have, like, if somehow, some way, the Republic got defeated by the Separatists,
He wins.
he still wins, because then he just switches over to Sidious,
Sidious,
and
and
just
yeah.
rolls through Dooku. And then obviously we see what happens if the Republic wins. So it's like, it was a win-win situation. The only way they could have won is if they found out who he was beforehand
killed him.
and killed him.
And they got
And even
close
then,
if
it's
Anakin
like-
hadn't, done what he did. Mace Windu
Yeah.
might have actually been
Yeah,
able to kill Palpatine.
Hell, even if I remember correctly, and this might be a Legends thing, so bear that in mind, and I might be wrong about this. But like the only person who was really powerful enough to kill him was like Yoda, Mace, and Anakin. Like that was really about it. Anyone else, it was like they weren't going to stand a chance against him. And even if Mace, it's kind of debatable whether he let himself get kind of mangled up in order to help sell Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more headcanon than it is.
There's actually a funny thing about that. Apparently, originally the way the whole Mace Windu thing was supposed to go was when Palpatine revealed to Anakin that I'm the Lord of the Sith. Anakin swore allegiance right then and there, and then Mace and the other Jedi sensed something was wrong and showed up.
I remember there was supposed to be a So I remember this is the thing from the game. So I know there's a lot of scenes in the game that were supposed to be in the movie, or they probably got cut or cut down. And one of them was an extended duel between Obi-Wan and Grievous, and the other was a full-fledged duel between Mace Windu and Anakin. And so what happens is, again, I'm thinking from memory when it comes to the game, so I could be wrong.
The version that I heard was, and there actually is like some behind-the-scenes footage showing this, was Palpatine didn't have a lightsaber. He takes Anakin's lightsaber and fights Mace and all them with it, and Anakin's just kind of watching the duel happen. He's like debating whether or not he should still side with Sidious or not.
Yeah, and I think he duels Mace out of more like, hey, you can't kill him, we need him alive. And then Mace is like, no. And then it's supposed to be, and again, this is more or less like, from what I remember, I could be wrong about this, but I think it's like from a heat of the moment, he strikes down Mace, and then Palpatine kills him then, and then that's when he goes, what have I done? Because he's like, he got so caught up in his anger, he then pretty much caused Mace to die like that, which, it still kind of happens in the
I kind of like how it happened in the movie rather than, because I like that there was more like hesitancy by Anakin, because it's like realistically he would be a bit hesitant about it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Plus the scene where it's him standing and looking at the Jedi Temple and then it cuts the shots of Padme looking, I thought that was really nicely done.
Yeah.
With like
right,
no dialogue.
Good night, Bags.
Good night, man.
Thanks.
But one thing that always kind of gets me, so going back to the Force Unleashed though, just because like we kind of
been all over the place.
But I've always, and this kind of goes back to like people saying like, because I know a lot of people kind of give this game crap for like not just Starkiller being overpowered, but they say like his character isn't that fleshed out, which I would argue it is.
I would argue it is.
I do think like the Jedi Temple being missing from the main game doesn't help it, but I would still argue it's there. However, like to me, it's something very poetic about Star Wars that it's very. I know Lucas said this in a interview or something where it's like one of the core things about Star Wars is like fathers and their relationships with their sons.
You see, it's like poetry. They rhyme. I'm kidding.
And you have that in this game as well, where it's very clear that like Starkiller views Vader as like a father in some way.
Yeah.
But, Vader is not a good guy to.
Yeah, he's not exactly the world's best dad.
And even when Vader double crosses him and stabs him, he's still hesitant to really turn his back on him, even though he kind of acknowledges that, like, dude, this guy straight up shanked me the first opportunity he had.
Yeah, and Juno calls him out when she realizes, dude, you're still loyal to Vader? All the shit he did?
At first, she thinks he's like trying to round up rebels to fight the Empire. Later, she finds out he's working with Vader, and she's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, she's like, dude, what the fuck?
So I always thought that was an interesting thing that is often, I feel, is often overlooked.
Yeah,
Is
And
that,
honestly,
true.
I think he still kind of believed Vader was like, okay, Vader pretended to kill me purely so to keep his cover.
and I think that's in the novel too. Again, I could be wrong about this because it's been a long time since I read the novel, but I think that's in the novel too, where he kind of wants Vader to be telling the truth. Like, he wants Vader to. You can tell he kind of deludes himself into thinking that, like, oh, Vader's a Sith, but I'm his apprentice, so he wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah,
lie
it's
to
like
me.
he practically raised me this whole time. Like, why would he betray me like that?
Yeah, because if you
Because I mean,
if
no
you
one wants to
wanted
think
like,
their paternal
find
figure
truth.
is like, malicious.
And there's actually a really good. Oh, sweet! I got a new lightsaber. There's actually a really nice moment at the end of the game where you're fighting your way through the Death Star, and you finally reach Vader, and he acknowledges that he's trained you well, but you have so much left to learn. And then Starkiller's like, you have nothing left to teach me. And to me, it's very short, but to me, that was Starkiller saying, like, all right, I'm done with you. I no longer need you to be who I am.
I like that. I like that moment too. That was good.
Yeah, same here. It was pretty much a culmination of everything Starkiller has went through as he slowly transitions from being Vader's apprentice to a great Jedi, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even reflected in his armor that he wears, because at the end of it,
He wears like Jedi robes. I think.
yeah, he's wearing Jedi robes, and I could be wrong. I think they're his father's robes. I think.
Oh wow!
I know you get them on. You get like his robes
the
like an
game, they don't-
alternate costume on Kashyyyk, I think.
Yeah, in the game, it doesn't really answer where it comes from. He just has a new outfit. I think in the novel, it's like he finds it on Kashyyyk. I think.
Yeah, well, actually, the last time when I touched on like reading material for Force Unleashed, even for research, it was heavily implied that the armor was from his father. So you may not be wrong on that.
Another thing that's funny, and I remembered because I think this was in like either Game Informer or some game magazine. They were talking to like I guess like the people who were developing the game, and the reason why he's called Starkiller is because at first they asked George like, "Hey, shouldn't he have like a Darth title?" And George's like, "That's a good point." And the names George gave them, and they had to pick one of the two names he gave them were just awful. So they just decided, you know what? He's not a full Sith. We're not going to give him a Sith name.
Yeah, and it actually makes sense from a narrative standpoint as you go later in like the Legends and EU, where it's like only true Sith were eventually given the title of Darth.
Yeah.
Like, Darth was like that means you were pretty much a full Sith to a degree.
That was basically the equivalent of calling someone master, pretty much.
Yeah. Because even from context-wise, a Sith apprentice is not on the same level as a Jedi apprentice.
No,
they're like, they're
like a Sith apprentice is probably stronger than most Jedi apprentices.
I mean, for Christ's sake, like Darth Maul, the first Sith apprentice we see, took on
two Jedi.
Yeah, took on two Jedi and defeated Qui-Gon, who wasn't officially a Jedi master, but he might as well have been.
I think he was technically a master. He just
didn't have the title.
Well,
yeah.
It was also our first glimpse of the great Jedi, and that was until we reintroduced them again through Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, like Qui-Gon, he was like, he just refused a seat on the council. But
yeah, like I think he was technically a master, but he's just like, I don't want to be on the council. Which I think is because of because remember Dooku was his master.
Yep.
Right.
And Dooku was very critical of the Jedi Council, which is ultimately why he left.
And then I was like trying to. But one thing I always think about, and this is, what the hell am I doing? One thing that always kind of bothered me, and this is pre-Disney era, it was just there was no interaction between Ahsoka and Starkiller. Like, to me, that was such a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, I honestly would have loved to have seen the two of them like fight each other or like just talk or something.
Like, it would have been so interesting. And again, like, the reason why is because Ahsoka didn't exist when this game came out. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would have been
Also,
so
I
interesting
just want
to see, like if they were to redo this story, like, just for this, let's say, like, let's say, like, this game gets redone to fit the canon. I could easily see them replacing, like, Koda's role with Ahsoka's role.
Yeah, I think that actually would work too.
The only downside is I doubt he would be able to blind her. I doubt they would let him do that.
Yeah, I don't think they would let him do that. Because Ahsoka's like they're golden. They're golden child.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the very least, he could knock her out or something like that, or maybe just get in a cheap shot. And
Yeah, maybe
remember
like
that-
just cut her and like leave like a scar of some kind.
Hey, remember
Because
what
that's
happened
kind of the
with
point, like,
Obi-Wan?
of
Where
this game, because, like, the only reason why Koda helps him is because he doesn't know who he is.
But then
Like, he's
later
just-
on, it's revealed that I know who you are.
He, like, I think he straight up says, I suspected, but he didn't know. Because, like, Koda was blinded, and, like, Starkiller didn't say anything the entire duel. So when he approached him the second time asking for his help, he just didn't know who he was off the bat.
Yeah. That's a nice detail. I forgot. Yeah, he doesn't speak at all during the duel.
He actually doesn't speak for most of his duels. The only time he talks to his opponent is Shock T.
Yeah.
And I think it's mostly due to the fact that, like, Shock T straight up says, like, oh, Vader's gonna betray you, and he's like, no, he's not. Shut up.
Shock T is like, Shock T's Force Ghost should appear. It's like, remember when I said he was going to betray you?
Hey, bitch, remember when I said this was gonna happen?
Yeah, exactly. She's just been like, remember when I said that was going to happen to you? Yeah.
Also, not to mention, like, everyone talks about Starkiller being overpowered. Like, you have to build to Shock T. Like, you don't just fight her off the bat. You fight Rom Koda, who he was a Jedi Master, but he wasn't a council member. He fights
a Jedi exile.
Yeah, who is basically, like, he's just crazy. That's kind of
Yeah, he's a crazy fanatic, pretty much.
And then you fight Shock T, who again doesn't really lose to him. She kind of just gives up because she kind of, granted, like, I think she kind of realized that she wasn't coming out of that alive, but.
And even Vader was like when because remember Starkiller's like, I'm ready to fight the Emperor now, and Vader's like, you fought an exile and an old man
and a crazy hermit. Shut up.
Is like, you are not ready for this.
And not to mention, like, at the end of the game, when he sacrifices himself to let the rebels escape, no one seems to everyone seems to ignore the fact that, like, that same explosion killed him, but Vader and Palpatine were unscathed.
Yeah.
Or at
Like,
least
he was not going to defeat them. He bested Vader, but that was mostly probably due to Vader underestimating him.
Yeah. Although if you go for the evil ending, you do actually kill him, but Palpatine's perfectly fine because he's Palpatine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like,
then
you kill
Palpatine
Vader, but-
straight up drops the fucking ship on top of you when you try to betray him.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to me that the DLC explores that ending. It's like, well, what if Starkiller was turned into a Sith cyborg assassin?
Yeah.
How would that go? And then, like, it's basically like a retelling
Of episode 5.
4 and 5, and then the sequel is really weird because Force Unleashed 2, the DLC, they do a similar role. But what if you play as the evil Starkiller assassin?
But it's a clone, and it's like Vader's still alive.
Yeah, yeah, but they also mention how you killed Luke on Hoth, which, again, it doesn't happen unless you play the DLC, and the DLC is based on the ending of you killing Vader and becoming a cyborg, so it's really weird.
Yeah, it is extremely weird.
Yeah. Oh, and also Luke embraces the dark side in that ending too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like partway through the fight, he starts embracing the dark side because he's pissed because you killed Uncle. I almost called him Uncle Ben. God damn it!
Hey, I gotta go take care of something real quick. I'll be right back. Okay.
I almost say you killed Uncle Ben. Let's be real though. Spider-Man wasn't Star Wars. He would be a Jedi.
Oh yeah. Ooh, would that mean that this dark symbiote would be a Sith?
Yep. I guess Venom would be a Sith.
Oh, and how? Oh damn, that just leaves all kinds of fun kind of shenanigans.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not watch the Venom movie purely because I was like, okay, so this has nothing to do with Spider-Man's. Like, you're gonna have to butcher Venom's backstory to make this work.
You know, it actually wasn't bad. It was surprisingly fun.
I heard it was okay, but I was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to watch it, even though Venom is like one of my favorite characters.
Well, here's my rating scale. If it's better than Iron Man 3, which I believe is the perfect middle, you know, fantastic Tony Stark, horrible, pretty much everything else.
Iron Man 3 just that movie pissed me off because it's like you had like the perfect setup here. Like, you really did. It was like, okay, you're fixing the problem I had with 2, which was 2 did not have enough action at all.
Yep. But
like that opening scene, that scene when the Mandarin sends all of his stuff to blow up Tony's house. Like, okay, that was badass. That was cool. That was a good action scene. That rest of the movie's like, there's barely anything.
Yeah, that is so true.
And then the twist with the Mandarin, I was like, you really?
Yeah.
Like, wow, you wasted Ben Kingsley too. I think Ben Kingsley could have been awesome as Mandarin.
He really could have. I mean, hell, he was as good as a fake one.
Yeah, I was
no
like, I would have watched Ben Kingsley as this character. Like, I would have watched the shit out of that.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the main reason why I bring up Iron Man 3 is, as I said before, perfect middle. It has some really great moments. It has some of the worst moments in the MCU, minus maybe what do you call it, Falcon and Winter Soldier, but that's a different story altogether. But for my opinion, it's the perfect middle. If it's better than Iron Man 3, it's at least watchable. And Venom is definitely better than Iron Man 3. So
yeah, I don't know. And then the trailer for the trailers for Venom 2, the thing that pissed me off was like you're making Venom as like a joke in the trailer. Like he's like kind of goofy. It's like, this is Venom.
Yeah. Yeah, he literally eats people. He asks people.
Okay, all right. We're
It's
talking
like,
about Venom.
Well,
Yeah, it's like Venom is a horror movie monster.
We're
Let's just
talking
be.
about Venom. All right, I got stuff to say because I'm a
Uh-oh.
huge Venom.
I know you about to pop off.
So I got
He's got things to say.
I got the first appearance of Carnage right here on my wall. I got
Oh, damn.
I got the entire
wow.
Lethal Protector original run. I got pretty much every latest Venom book in my thing. Like, even when I wasn't really enjoying the run, I still bought it.
Because I've never actually read the original Venom comics, like all of them, like when
So-
he's first like appears, but I
One
know
thing-
about them.
One thing to keep in mind, and I will address this is me kind of like acknowledging, yes, Venom is a bit of a goofy character. However, that goofiness is not necessarily him being like funny, silly. It's him basically being insane. Like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like to show. There's like a moment from Lethal Protector, and it's like one of the first moments in the series. It's like in issue 1, where he's apologizing to a lady. He's handing her her purse. He's like patting her on the head. You know, he's just being silly. But it's like they ignore the context that right before that moment, he murdered like 3 people right in front of her.
Yeah.
And like used the symbiote to like replace. Like he took the symbiote and like put like inside the guy's insides and like tore up his insides basically. And it's like his goofiness is because he's insane, not because he's funny.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like the point. He's crazy.
Honestly, if you ask me what I would do for Venom, Venom would be a straight up horror movie monster. Like it wouldn't even be. It would be very, like it would be like a Jekyll Hyde situation where Eddie is barely controlling the symbiote, and even then, it's kind of like, is the symbiote just letting him do shit? It's like, oh, cute, you think you're in control right now? I'm gonna play along for a second.
The problem I have when it comes to Venom in the film. And this to me, this is one of the biggest mistakes they pulled, is because I like the first Venom movie. I might rag on it a couple of times, but I do enjoy it. However,
I like the way Venom looked. I will say that. I like his design. Even though I get why he doesn't have the spider
to
on
me,
his chest.
like the fact they don't have the spider is a big turnoff for me. I
They
feel
they kind of tried to have little hints of it with like little bits of white on like the edges of his chest.
To me, he should have had the spider regardless of the context.
Yeah.
Like, unless they were hoping that one day he could cross over with Spider-Man, maybe.
Which, from what I've heard from the post-credits of Venom 2, I'm just gonna stop talking in case anyone gives a shit.
The thing about me when it comes to this version of Venom, and I think they shot themselves in the foot, is that they're using a version of Eddie who is trying to be a hero, and I'm not talking like Lethal Protector hero. I'm talking like legitimate good guy Eddie.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
For a while, he was trying to be a hero, but he was still crazy. Like Lethal Protector is basically him. Like him and the symbiote are both just insane. Like they don't understand that they are two giant hulking. They're a giant hulking monster who's basically trying to be a better Spider-Man out of spite, not necessarily out of being a good guy. Like he's always talking about protecting the innocents, and that's mostly because he thinks he
could do Spider-Man's jobs better.
No, it's basically like, well, yeah, but it's basically like Spider-Man stole our innocence. He robbed us, so now we are going to be the real protector to the innocent. It's like, dude, you're not a victim here.
Yeah, like Eddie's a piece of shit.
And that's kind of like that's kind of where the Carnage thing comes into play, where it's like Venom's crazy, but Carnage is worse.
Yeah, Carnage is more insane than Venom, which is saying something.
Yeah, because even when Venom was first when he was first a villain, first introduced,
he wasn't
murdering random people.
Yeah, he would mostly just fuck with Spider-Man.
Like the most, I know he beat the shit out of Black Cat, but that was mostly because he was trying to find out where Spider-Man was. And the minute he found out that she didn't know, he just let her go. Like, I don't give a shit. You're not worth my time.
He's like, okay, whatever.
Carnage, on the other hand, he just started murdering people because he's like, I finally got the power. I'm a serial killer already. I have a symbiote who gives me the power to murder. He wants to murder too. We're just two peas in a pod here.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's just go on a killing spree. Let's get the highest kill streak.
Yeah, because like Cletus is such a terrifying and psychopathic serial killer. He and Carnage achieved a perfect symbiosis.
Which is why Carnage never says we. It's always I.
Yeah, and that's like a big deal, especially as you go later into the symbiote stories. It's like, because no other symbiote does that. Like they do, unless it's like one of those rare cases where like it's just the symbiote piloting somebody, like the person doesn't have any control. It's like, no, that's crazy. The fact that he and his symbiote so perfectly entwined.
Like I remember even in like the 90s show, like Spider-Man even says this guy is so in tune with the symbiote. He said first of it is I instead of we. Yeah, even Spider-Man notices that and is kind of freaked out by it.
Yeah, and even Cletus Cassidy in the comics, he's basically immortal because his symbiote lives within his bloodstream, as opposed to like everyone else where the symbiote just kind of sits on them.
Yeah, they're so integrated with each other.
Yeah, and he did receive a major upgrade when he became bonded with Null. After he was first introduced in Donny Cates' Venom run.
Yeah, and even that, because like, say what you will, I'm not a big fan of like Absolute Carnage in the sense that I feel like they wasted Carnage. However, like it still was. To me, like I'm a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to Donny Cates, because I don't think he's bad. I think he does some kind of weird, questionable things when it comes to stories, but I don't think he necessarily I don't think he didn't understand. What the hell? Oh, I don't think he didn't understand Carnage. I think he just used him to the best he was given. However, to me, that entire book needed a higher body count, and I don't just mean random civilians.
Oof. You want to see some heroes get killed?
Yeah, especially considering the premise of the book.
Well,
yeah,
I remember
going after these symbiote pieces left behind in Host.
Yeah, Yeah, so it makes sense from a storytelling perspective for Absolute Carnage that it acts as a callback to like two previous characters, be it heroes or villains, that have bonded with symbiotes, and what they didn't realize that after they're separate from the symbiotes, they are left a piece of it, Codex. So that's what causes Carnage and Cletus to go after these previous hosts, even if they're
Yeah,
temporary.
and what's funny to me is that like in the book, it's very much an I won't say it's like an homage to every Carnage story, but it pays homage to some of the most popular ones. Like the very name in and of itself and kind of the basic
It's a
premise is very similar
Maximum
to Maximum
Carnage.
Carnage. But then it also references Carnage USA when he took over an entire small town
Yeah, I
and the
remember that one.
Avengers. Like to me, it wasted the opportunity for Carnage to really kind of be established as the villain he's meant to be. Because like when a lot of people don't realize, like Carnage is pretty powerful. Like the fact that he's immortal already kind of makes him more dangerous than most villains you meet. Because even Thanos isn't immortal, and I'm talking
nah.
Oh yeah.
damage wise. Like Carnage, he literally had his he got shot in the head completely blown apart, and the symbiote repaired it like it was nothing. Like that's
And
nothing to laugh at.
and he was also split in half by Sentry. And he
Yeah,
someone
I forget
like
about
that.
that.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's right. That did happen.
like oh my god, I forgot about that. Like he stayed in orbit for like years.
And was fine.
Like he was just in orbit, and they were like, yeah, he's just back. The only reason why the symbiote wasn't able to like repair him was just because like the symbiote did everything it could to keep him alive in orbit. Like that was like this thing behind it, and I died. But basically, it's like they established that like, oh no, the only reason the symbiote didn't heal him in orbit was because it was spending all of its energy keeping him alive in orbit. And when he got pulled out of orbit, it was like I think they even explained it in Carnage Family Feud. It's like, no, when we brought him back, the symbiote immediately started healing him. And they were like, they pretty much like, they thought he was dead, and they just thought the symbiote was trying to repair a corpse. Like, no, he was alive the whole time. The symbiote just kept him kind of dormant.
Whatever. I remember there was a character that was like a it was a symbiote. I think it was called Toxin or something like that. It was like a mix of Carnage and Venom.
So Toxin is Carnage's offspring. Because every so often the symbiotes will, reproduce.
Asexually reproduce, yeah.
Asexually reproduce, and Toxin is Carnage's offspring. And the thing is that like with each offspring, like true offspring, not like some of the, because I know some of the symbiotes in the canon are like clones, they're not really true offspring, but each one is supposed to like not have the weaknesses of the previous one.
So each one is stronger than the other one.
Yeah,
than the
like
previous
they
one.
slightly improve on each one. And the thing about Toxin is that like Venom wanted to like this was back when Venom was supposedly all about the symbiote hive, which they kind of retconned later. But basically, Venom wanted to teach him the true meaning of the symbiotes, while Carnage just wanted to kill him. And then when he was born, Carnage was like, all right, I'm going to kill this guy. I don't want anything to do with him. But it turned out because each symbiote improves on the previous one, he couldn't kill him because he was
Toxin
strong.
was way stronger than Carnage.
Yeah, and then later, like he bonded with like this police officer guy, and his story, Mulligan, yeah, and his story was interesting because it was like he's a cop, he's trying to be a good guy, but because his symbiote is Carnage's offspring, he was naturally insane. And there's like a really funny moment where like he's stopping this bank robbery, and he has like one of the guys in his hand, and he's like, "You're gonna take us to jail now, right?" He's like, "No, I'm going to crack open your skull, crush your brains, and drink it like it's a smoothie, right?" And he's like getting all creepy with it, and then the police show up, and he's like, "Nah, I'm just messing with." And it's like, "All right, time to take him to jail." And it's like, "Wait, I thought you said you're gonna eat our brains." Like, "No, I was just messing with you guys." But deep down, no, the symbiote was really like, "No, we're gonna eat these guys," but he happened to control himself beforehand.
Yeah, the symbiote was like, I really wanted to eat him.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so like
Patrick in the Toxin series was trying to teach Toxin to be a better
yeah, like that was an
person,
interesting setup for a
quote
story where
unquote.
it's
So like
like,
he's teaching Toxin how to be a hero and not be like Carnage.
yeah, where
Yeah,
basically
don't
like
be
he's
like your
like,
dad, Toxin.
yeah, like he had an interesting setup where it's like, listen, we're gonna be a hero. I'm not gonna be a monster, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of hard to keep that stuff in check. And he had like a
Yeah.
family. He left his family because he was like he knew that like having that symbiote was only gonna bring trouble for them. It was it was interesting. And then they killed him.
Oh, he died?
Yeah, but
Yeah, he
yeah,
dies. Like the
he's
host
killed by Eddie.
the host dies. The suit survives. And eventually like Eddie Brock becomes the host because at the time
Okay,
Eddie
so
wasn't Venom. He was
Anti
yeah, no,
Venom?
he was anti-venom, and after
no,
he
this was
lost
before
the
Anti Venom, I think. I think this is
no,
before. This was during Agent Venom. But basically, Eddie was no longer the symbiote, and I think Marvel was trying to find something for him to do because that's what it
yeah,
always
so
felt like to me. Because he was Toxin, eventually he became Anti Venom, but that was
no,
later. And to me, that was even more egregious because it was like, what do you
no,
call it?
Eddie he became toxin after he lost the anti-venom symbiote from Island. So he became
Oh
toxin
yeah,
after,
that's right.
yeah,
I
because
will say I
after
like Anti
after
Venom's design. I actually like his look.
yeah,
His
and
story's kind
also
of stupid though because he's like, because like when it comes to the symbiotes, like the way they
well,
reproduce is very kind of finicky, and I kind of blame Lethal Protector for this because Lethal Protector, like, they cloned 5 symbiotes from Venom alone, and then they later retconned it with Carnage, where like they're not true symbiotes, they're just clone symbiotes. But not Toxin, Anti Venom,
well, he wasn't
he's
a natural symbiote. He was born from remnants of venom when Martin Lee touched on his shoulder. This was
mhm.
during a period where Eddie was diagnosed with cancer, and he wanted to make amends for his past deeds as Venom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though, like, it's very weird to me because of that. Because it's not even a true symbiote. It's like the remnants of a symbiote. But when you look deeper into like the symbiote like lore, that doesn't really make sense. Like, how does that work? Like, how come these clone symbiotes have more personality than what is literally born from the original symbiote?
It's just like a fragment of Venom.
Yeah, like you would think that by all logic, this should be another symbiote, not a false symbiote, essentially.
Yeah.
But I noticed Megatron asked like how many Venom Hellspawns are there? So
There's a
um
lot.
there's the 5 clones, which was like from Lethal Protector, where
One of like Riot,
Riot,
Right,
Thrasher,
right.
Scream.
I know Riot was the antagonist for the first Venom movie.
Which is funny because in the comic he has no personality. None of them do. The only one who
Yeah.
has even a speaking role is like Scream, and she later gets a characterization, but none of them ever really get a characterization. A lot of them are just background symbiotes.
Yeah,
Um,
and it was also during that time. It's also during that time, Scream, she was affecting her host who was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which also messed her up
Oh
even
no.
more, and this leads her to start going after the hosts of the other like symbiotes.
yeah, like
I can't imagine having schizophrenia and a symbiote.
yeah, because like basically Scream, she's like the only. I think I could be wrong about this, but I think like she becomes
She believed,
self-aware, if that makes
and
sense. Like um,
yeah, it definitely makes sense because like at that time, like because of her bonding with Scream, like she believed like all symbiotes are naturally evil, so she starts going on a serial killing spree, killing the
yeah,
hosts
and
of the
that gets
symbiotes.
retconned too. So let's see, you have the
Wait,
five
really?
clones.
Comics.
You have the 5 clones. Then you have Carnage, who's like the true offspring of Venom, like the true natural son of.
And then you have anti-venom. I guess you can
Then
count
you have
anti-venom.
you have the she-venom, who is another clone of the black suit. Then you have anti-venom. I was gonna say toxin, but no, toxin is Carnage's.
Carnage's kid.
And then you have there's another one who's newer.
Mania?
Sleeper. No, yeah, Mania. Mania is another one. Mania is another one too. But I think that's more. I think that's from the Agent Venom stuff. So I can't remember if it's like. I don't think it's a full offspring. I think it's more like a
clone.
Piece. No, it's a piece of the black symbiote that eventually became self-aware. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's similar to what happened to Metamorpho when everyone thought he was dead. And he resurrected, but it turns out a piece of him. It was actually a piece of him that was born from his remains and became self-aware, while the real Metamorpho was unaware of his clone.
Right, and then there's Sleeper, who is like he's probably the newest one out of all of them. Right before the Donny Cates run.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's about it. And then there's like a few Carnage ones where Toxin, there's sort of he has his own set of clones, but he eventually reabsorbs them, so I don't think that really counts.
Whatever happened to Toxin after Eddie killed the original host and wore him?
I don't. Well, Eddie wore him after he killed the original host. After that, I have no idea. I don't think Toxin. I'm pretty sure he's still around. I don't think he's being utilized though.
Actually, currently, Toxin is bonded to a young boy whose father is one of the guardsmen.
Huh. I know there's another. What's her name?
Symbiote being fused to a kid. What could possibly go wrong?
Honestly, I think that would be a very interesting story for like a kid suddenly have a symbiote and now, like basically like it would be like a dark version of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean it could work. Especially if the kid is the kid is kind of naive and the symbiote's just like a god kid. You're an idiot. Kind of thing.
Or you could have it where the symbiote is technically a child among symbiotes.
Yeah.
And so like. They're both like learning at the same time. But
they're both kind of gullible or something.
But yeah, like there is that retcon where in the early Spider-Man stuff, like it's implied that the symbiotes were all naturally evil, and then Agent Venom changed that to where they were all naturally good. It's just that everyone that spawned from Venom, because Venom was so separated from the Hive. Oh, god damn it.
That's when they actually gave him the name Clintar, right?
Yeah, he was so separated from the rest of the Hive that any symbiote spawned from him was so separated from the natural Hive. And
that
then,
they were just insane by default.
Yeah, but then the King in Black stuff comes out where it's like, oh no, they're all born to destroy all life in the universe. Like that's what the whole original purpose is. Clintar is not actually a planet; it's just a giant prison for Null. Like,
yeah, but it was that through the actions of Thor that the Clintar were disconnected from Null, and they bonded with like benevolent hosts who taught them like virtue, honor, and compassion.
Wait, hold up. So Thor is the reason why they're separated from Null?
No, so what happened was Null was like going around killing planets, infesting them with symbiotes. And what happened was he found himself on Earth. And while he was on Earth, Thor was there. And Thor destroyed one of his symbiote dragons, which temporarily like...
A symbiote dragon. That sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah, it temporarily separated him from the rest of the Hive. And the symbiotes basically rebelled against him in that moment. And as a result, like the symbiotes turned on Null and basically imprisoned him. And so the entire planet Clintar is not actually
just a giant
planet.
Prison.
It's just a giant prison with Null in the center.
Yeah, while the Clintar themselves feeling remorse and shame shame for their actions being well Null's foot soldiers. They want to make amends, and
Yeah,
and
basically
like
like their entire like we're actually defenders of like peace. No, that was basically them trying to undo their time as No's
Knowles.
soldiers.
Yeah.
But again, it's like that. But then then the whole thing with Carnage is supposed to be like, no, Carnage is like the true symbiote. He's what they were meant to be. Just kill everything.
which pretty much which goes against everything that was established even with the retcons, because
As I'm saying,
This
like
is
the
one thing I
symbiote.
hate about. This is one thing that bugs me about comics. It's like they always have to retcon shit. It seems
yeah,
like.
which especially
Oh, yeah.
especially when you're retconning something that when you're retconning like a concept that didn't really need to be retconned.
Because what I'll
She-Hulk.
say about the symbiote is that, like, when it comes to the symbiote stuff, there's a lot of retcons there. Like, there's no denying that. However, I will say they're not the most egregious retcons I've seen, which I will, well, sort of. They're okay. Let me rephrase that. They are egregious. Like, let's be real here. Like, they go from completely different characterizations multiple times. However, I think that at the very least, each writer tries their best to sell it. And when the retcon shows up, they try their best to kind of make sure the previous retcon just didn't matter. You know what I mean?
I guess. What do you say is the worst like Marvel retcon?
You you want to talk about the worst?
Like I'm
retcon.
curious, what would you guys think is the worst?
All right, so I have a tie when it comes to some of that. One of the, obviously is One More Day.
I'm about to say, because One More Day is definitely up there.
I'm not sure if it counts as a retcon, but to me, it's a retcon in the sense that like that's something Spider-Man and Mary Jane would ever agree to. Another pretty bad one is Hank Pym being like a wife beater. To me, that is
That shit always was like, wait, what?
especially when you find out the context that was like a mistranslation between the artist and the writer.
Oh, was a mistranslation?
Yeah, like basically he was supposed to like accidentally hit her, not like directly hit her.
Which given the context, it makes sense. However, because of the mistranslation between the artist and the writer at the time for Avengers, it came out the other way instead of what it was intended.
Another one that I don't. Okay, so again, I'm not sure if this counts as a retcon. I consider a retcon because it goes against the original characterization of them. I'm not a fan of Sue Storm and Namor relationship. Like, I think that is one of the most egregious things that Marvel has ever done. The idea that not only is Mr. Fantastic just like an awful husband and father,
Yeah, they really
that
made
Sue
Mr.
Storm
Fantastic
would
kind of
basically have an
shit.
affair with Namor over that. Like, come the fuck on. Like,
Doesn't Namor like hate people on the surface anyway?
Yeah,
Well,
like, and then they.
I mean, it's complicated.
He's an asshole. Like, he is an asshole through and through, and like, basically,
But yeah,
I know the Ultimate Universe, they go hard in that shit. Like, the Ultimate Universe, it's not even funny. Like,
no.
he basically starts attacking New York, killing like hundreds of thousands of people just to get Sue Storm to kiss him. And I would have murdered that. I would have murdered that man as a superhero. I would have murdered that man right there, because if he's petty enough to do something like that, there's no telling what he's gonna do in the future.
Yeah, I can also see main universe like Namor to take his ultimate counterpart down, because he may be an a-hole, but he does have redeeming qualities and would not go that far.
Like, I think a lot of people forget that Namor is still a superhero. God damn it! Like, he's an asshole, but he's still a hero. Like, he's still not like going around mass murdering people.
Yeah,
like, come on, people.
Then again, I know Ultimate's time. Like, they really fucked up a lot of stuff with that.
Oh no, Ultimate is fucking like I don't care what anybody says. I've never liked the Ultimate Universe, and it's
the only thing I liked was Spider-Man for the most part, and the later shit was bad.
Yeah. Also,
mostly because they completely changed art styles, and I have no idea why.
In a brief and a brief tangent, there's also Scorn, who
Oh
is
yeah,
related to
Scorn,
Carnage.
who they wasted and then killed off immediately.
Yeah,
Well, I say
yeah,
immediately,
and they
but
also,
they weren't doing anything with her.
well, they also mischaracterized her because she would not join a cult that worships Carnage. She's been an antagonist towards Carnage for years.
So yeah, like Scorn is an interesting one because like she's one of those symbiotes who she was like it was like a piece of the symbiote of the Carnage symbiote that was ripped off from the main one, and it separated from him long enough to gain like a sentience, and it bonded with this one chick, and she had an interesting power set where she could manipulate machinery.
Oh, that's
Which was
interesting.
Which yeah, I was like that's pretty interesting for a
For a symbiote.
symbiote. But the problem is that like they don't do anything with her.
It's
And
always
then,
the worst.
And then
Yeah.
the next time she really shows up is in the build up to Absolute Carnage, and she's leading like a cult that
Yeah,
worships Carnage and Null, and like she
which again is
sacrifices herself in order for Carnage to become complete. And it's like, okay, like
I mean
what a
again
waste
like
of a damn character.
yeah, and again it's completely out it goes completely out of character because Scorn and her host Tannis they're against Cletus and Carnage.
All right, I'm gonna do this boss fight, and then we'll get ready to wrap up.
Oh, I gotta. Oh, speaking of retcon, I don't know if is Dark Phoenix the whole thing where it's like, oh, it wasn't the real Gene thing. Is that a retcon? But you can
Wait,
say
which
retcon
one?
because I feel like it should. You know how with the Dark Phoenix saga where it's like, oh no, that wasn't really Gene. That was a copy of Gene.
That's a retcon. That is
Yeah, that
definitely
was
a
so
retcon.
dumb. I was like, man, you might as well just made that Gene.
Hell, the fact that like Odin and the Phoenix Force had an affair is a retcon, and it's implied that like she's actually Thor's mother. That's a retcon if I've ever seen.
Oh, what the fuck! I didn't even know about that part.
Yeah, like
You're destroying our precious temple.
yeah, like she's like. I don't know if it's outright. I haven't kept up with Thor. I don't know if it's outright said, but I do know the last time I kept up with it was like it's implied that she's his mother, not what's her name?
I forget what her name is.
But to me, it's like that's so stupid. Like you don't need that shit.
Yeah, that's just unnecessary, man.
I'm trying to think of some other Marvel retcons because there's plenty of them. It's just some of them you don't really keep up with.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to know
So
the
we already
best
talked
retcon they've
about
done?
She-Hulk, right, and all that crap.
Oh,
Oh, what did
God.
they retcon with She-Hulk? 'Cause I'm not too familiar with She-Hulk.
Oh,
Basically, that she's felt inferior to Bruce because she wasn't like, I don't know, because like, what's you probably know better than I do, Jay.
okay. So basically, in Avengers 20, it looked like they were trying to stop, Ugly She-Hulk from coming out because they've dealt with this before, and it usually doesn't turn out so good because she can't control her powers. Her personality changes a little bit; she becomes more aggressive, and apparently, it could become a weapon of mass destruction. So, in short, it's not worth the risk. And in this one, she basically said, "Well, now she was sexually assaulted or felt up while she was being fought and stuff like that." And I'm just like, that has never happened. Not even one. Even when they were
First,
times
okay,
where
I'm not
guys-
trying to be blunt, but it's like, how the hell would you do that to She-Hulk anyway, considering how strong she is?
Yeah, like
Like,
dude,
I mean, you try to grab her ass, she's gonna throw you through a freaking wall, probably through several.
who would even try to in that?
Yeah, it's like, who would try that
You're
shit?
fighting She-Hulk of all people, goddammit. Like, that's not the time. Like, yo,
No.
man, I gotta survive this fight.
No, I'm not even talking about fight. I'm just talking about like some random dude just sees She-Hulk and be like, oh shit, and tries to slap her ass. It's like, bro, she's gonna just break your freaking hand. She just turn around, grab your hand, and just break it, and just hold
But
eye
yeah, like, I
contact
know
with
what
you
you're
the
talking
whole
about. Like,
time.
that's a pretty egregious like retcon.
I'm not even against She-Hulk having like a more like hulked out form if it was like like a
A temporary thing, or
yeah,
like,
like you know how in anime they have that character who has like a who has like a mega form that they can only do for a short amount of time or something,
What the?
or it takes like a toll on him to do it.
Wait,
You know,
did I
people
die?
love that shit. No, you're
I
still alive.
died.
You did? Oh shit.
What the hell? It gave me the.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, it did.
I guess
It gave
I
you the
died, but
QTE too.
yes, I guess I died as the QTE started.
Oh, that sucks.
That's lame.
Oh, there was more to that retcon too.
Go ahead.
Besides the stuff I was talking about before, her being felt up, she wanted to be free to be ugly. Because
Yeah, I
apparently
remember
she
that.
felt that she was being pressured and shit like this. Like, bitch,
Who was pressuring her?
Did you read a She-Hulk comic in your life? She had chances to get cured or at least have it less of an issue, but she chose to be She-Hulk, to stay in She-Hulk more often. And the way that the gamma works,
Yeah, she enjoyed it.
Yeah, because the whole
it
point
brought
was
it
like,
out.
for
What
Bruce,
do you call it?
was
It brought out
curse.
whoever it is inside of you. Because Banner was, had all the issues that he had.
Yeah, Banner was
the
abused
Hulk.
by his father, right?
Yeah, and when it came to She-Hulk, she inside was this beautiful Gamazon woman, and that's why it worked the way that it did. And then, of course, at the end, and this is the part that really set me off. I might have been able to forgive the other stuff, but this I couldn't. She said that Bruce felt jealous of her because she could actually control her changes. And
okay, that one I could forgive Bruce being like envious of, man, I wish I could control Hulk, like the way you can.
And she said, I never wanted to punch him out so much in my life.
What?
That's like
to
me.
What kind of bullshit is that? Like Banner has the right to be like, yo, I wish it worked the way yours does.
Like Banner has been exiled from Earth over his damn rage.
Banner has been killed over potentially losing his shit as the Hulk. Remember, even though I get why everyone doesn't want to remember Civil War 2.
Oh god, what the Jesus Christ, man! I didn't even. Okay, all right. God damn it.
Like, remember that shit, Civil War 2.
Like, Banner has been like Banner's whole thing is that like being the Hulk is a curse for him. However, for She-Hulk, it was like a chance for her to enjoy the power. And to me, it's like now it's just like she's basically just female Hulk. That's all she is.
Which is not what she was.
And what's even funnier is that like Banner's story, it's still a curse for him.
Yeah.
So now it's just two Hulks running around.
And then you have that Amadeus Cho thing where it's like you like being the Hulk, but like it doesn't seem to be any downside when he's Hulk at all, which I think is weird.
I think that's why I liked Damage from DC when it came out, because he was basically the Hulk, but to him his story was still a curse. Like he didn't want to be Damage. Because when I was reading it, I was like, this is fun, but like, it's pretty much
the Hulk.
But at the same time, I think that was right when like what do you call it? What is it called? Immortal Hulk first started. I think that was like around that time. So, being Banner wasn't really like it wasn't really presented the same way.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a massive issue with Jason Aaron, as you can understand, because I actually did buy the comics back when I wasn't alive in the 70s, but in the 70s comics became available for sale for trade. I bought those. I brought John Byrne's runs. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% an expert, but I definitely know a lot of the stuff that's going on with She-Hulk. And boy howdy, she got done so dirty by recent day Marvel. And even though Marvel's trying to backtrack on a couple things, that's the one thing that seems that they are dead set in keeping. And that pisses me off. No, strict that. They're trying to make it worse by making her part of the Red Guard.
Yeah, like she's like Winter Hulk, and it's like she's so like it's like comically how ridiculous she looks. It's like, this is insane. Like, come on.
It's like, this is like, you might as well just made her a dude.
And then, I will say this: when it comes to Jason Aaron, and I'm probably going to get some flack from certain people from this, but to me, him, and what's the dude's name? Tom Taylor. They are some of the most overrated comic writers today. Like Tom Taylor, I'm probably being a little unfair because the only thing I've really read of his was like Deceased and Injustice. But to me, like, it's not even funny, like, to me how bad those comics are in terms of like considering like what it requires for you to accept them as happening. Like to me, Injustice, the only way Injustice works is you have to accept the fact that these characters are completely out of character. And to me, that's not a good story.
Yeah, like Injustice, I like the game I like, but I acknowledge like, yeah, this story, especially with the way Superman goes evil, makes like there needed to be more to it than that, you know.
From solely a like, oh, it's a fighting game story, it's fine.
Yeah, and in terms of fighting game, it's fine.
Finer details, it's like, dude, this guy is straight up a fascist. Like he's a tyrannical fascist, and anyone trying to paint this as a morally gray thing is being an idiot.
Yeah, there's no way to spin that as morally gray.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like,
it gets worse when you consider the game story. But like, he straight up blows up. He's trying to destroy Metropolis because they refuse to obey him. Like, why are you fucking kidding me?
Wait, that actually happens in the comic?
No, it all leads to it in the game.
Yeah.
But in the comic, it's worse because like,
in the game, it was because Joker had rigged a nuke to like Lois's heart and then poisoned Superman.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. That's the triggering thing.
Oh, there's another time he tries to destroy Metropolis.
So in the game,
it's
at the end of it, like at the end of the game, when like basically Batman has pulled over the other heroes from the other universe to help them out. You know, Superman, he's kind of losing control. In order to establish that he is the governing power of the world, he decides to make an example. And what example does he set? By destroying Metropolis. I'm like, are you fucking
dude, what the fuck? The whole reason you lost your shit in the first place was because Metropolis blew up.
Now, here's
supposed to be the irony.
Here's the thing. Now, I get that it's trying to be ironic, right? I get that. And if it was only the game, I would accept it. However, when you take in the context of the comic, which is supposed to be canon, like keep in mind, this is supposed to be the official story of what happened between the destruction of Metropolis the first time versus the destruction of Metropolis the second time. Like when you get into the nitty gritty of it, it makes no sense that this man went from dictator in the first year. And I don't care what anybody says. He straight up created a fascist army within the first year of him being the responsible for destroying Metropolis. Like to me, it's like the idea that Superman, first of all, any Justice League character for that matter, the fact that Superman, the minute he lost a loved one in a city, you're telling me he goes off the deep end and completely goes full dictator? Bullshit.
I could see him like just being like, okay, criminals just die now.
Yeah,
I could see if he went like that level and then like it escalated from there over time.
He goes to that for like a minute.
Yeah.
It's like a brief moment where he's like, all right, maybe I should be harsher with criminals. And then he gets a little harsher for like a moment, and then he's like, what's her name? Diana's like, well, what if you did more? And he's like, you're right.
All right.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna be right back.
Here's something I'm kind of nervous about with the animation. I guess I probably shouldn't be, but you know what the hell. I'm afraid they're going to try and pull a Red Sun with the animation that's coming up and make it so that Diana, first of all, isn't as well, for without a better word of saying it, going along with it. It looks like the cover makes it look like Diana's trying to stop him and is no longer in love with him anymore. So,
that's dumb.
It looked well. I mean, if you look at the cover, if you have a chance, just do a search for Injustice animation cover. I'm actually going to see if it's there. Injustice animation cover. If you actually look at the cover, you can see Diana taking the lasso of truth and wrapping Superman's arm. So again, it looks like she's not going to be egging him on. I could be wrong though. I could be completely wrong, but we don't see that much of her in the animation. We see her fight a little bit, but not really either siding with him or against him that I last remember. So I am so nervous that they are going to try and again Red Sun her ass and basically make it so that she doesn't like him and that she's going to oppose him too.
Oh, great.
It was one of the things that pissed me off so much about Red Sun. It's like, wow, you changed Wonder Woman's personality completely. You made Batman more murdery, but for some reason he uses the Red Sun to basically capture Superman without killing him, but he killed a bunch of people in the museum for no reason. So yeah, I'm just worried that this is going to be worse than Red Sun. And I know this is weird, and I know that Sauron probably will disagree. I liked the game video. I liked the video game story. The comic, yeah.
I haven't read the comics. I've only played the first. Well, no, I have the second game. I never did the story mode for it for some reason. But my problem with, and this is kind of the problem Anakin had with episode 3 was like the escalation of going evil is just like way too fast.
Well, that dark side stuff.
Injustice is that like, so in the context of Injustice, it's like there's a 5-year gap between Joker tricking Superman to destroy Metropolis versus essentially the game. Like, there's a 5-year gap.
There's a 5-year gap, so you can kind of justify, okay,
and
why
it's
Superman's
implied.
So different.
Again, like it's implied that as those 5 years happened, basically Superman went on a downward decline after.
Yeah.
That. Now, from a surface level standpoint, I could buy that.
Yeah, I could buy it if it's gradual.
However, in the comic, like, again, he creates his own super soldier police force in the first year. He murders Green Arrow, again, first year. He starts like flying around the world, taking out like dictator regimes. Like, this is all in the first year. And then like year 2.
Okay, him taking out dictator regimes, I could see him doing that at that
like
point.
That's fine to me, that's fine to a degree. But then like he kills Green Arrow. He what else did he do in the first year? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. He creates his own super soldiers, like police force, who straight up look like Nazis. Like,
they do.
No joke. And then year 2, he sides with Sinestro and goes to war with the Green Lanterns. Like, dude, like, if the Green Lanterns are saying, hey, man, you need to tone it down a bit, I feel like most people would be like, all right, maybe I'm taking things a little too far. And then at the end of year 2, he wears a freaking yellow lantern ring. Like, come on, man, you're a villain at this point. It hasn't even been a full 2 years, and you're already the bad guy.
Yeah, that escalated quick.
Well, there is actually a little bit of context to that as well. Apparently, Superman found out that the Green Lanterns could have saved Krypton, but they didn't. So that's part of the reason why he's kind of anti-Green Lantern and stuff like that.
I get that, but to me that feels
he went off the deep end, don't get me wrong, but still I can understand why he's a little upset with them.
That feels a little too arbitrary to me.
See, I think it would have been better if like the Green Lanterns tried to stop him at some point, and then he figured out that, oh, you guys let my planet die, and then he's like, fuck you.
That's pretty much what happened.
Like,
oh, that is what happened? Okay, I can kind of give that a little bit more of a pass. It's a little bit more of a motive.
But see, that's my issue with it is that, what the hell just happened here?
Is he stuck?
Yeah, he's stuck.
Uh-oh. Maybe zap him a couple times?
Oh, no, I can't even damage him now.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, can I? No?
His health bar isn't moving. I have never seen that.
AAA gaming, everybody. Well, and this game's like a decade old, so that's not really a fair comparison.
And are you playing it on like a original 360 or?
This is Xbox One, so.
But so maybe it's like an emulation thing.
No, well, it should be a port. It might be an emulation thing, but it's a port, so technically speaking. Interesting.
Damn, that's
is there a way to reload a checkpoint?
I think there is.
I don't see.
Maybe try exiting and then like like doing it again. I don't know.
Hold on a sec. Let me see. I'm gonna.
Before the stream, I don't know why I decided to watch it, but I was watching the newer Blair Witch movie.
Oh Lord.
I don't know why I decided to watch. I guess because I was like, you know what? I hated the first one. How bad is this one? And it's like, wow, this one's pretty bad.
All right. I'm going to exit, and then I'm gonna try one more time. I'm gonna try to beat this boss before we end the stream because I feel like that would be a good end.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thing with Injustice. If nothing else, I feel it's overrated. I'm not gonna say it's bad. I think it's bad, but I'm not gonna try to say that that's my correct opinion. I'll just say I think it's a bit overrated.
I don't even know what happens in the second one, honestly, because I didn't feel like playing the story of it.
In the second one, I think the second one's a little bit better because it tries to tell a story based around its characters, and it tries to give Superman a bit more moral ambiguity. It's a little too late because of the context of the first game.
Yeah.
But I do think the second game story is a bit better. However, Wonder Woman is still an absolute C word.
And you know what? She's great that way because, I mean, at least for this, for the context of what she's supposed to be, I think that she plays her part very well.
Well, I remember I had this talk with, I think maybe it was Gumby. I can't remember who exactly it was. But I remember I had this talk with somebody where it's like, if Wonder Woman was the character she was originally, the story wouldn't have happened. Because there's no way she would side with Superman, and then it would be Batman and Wonder Woman versus Superman. And while Wonder Woman is not necessarily as strong as Superman, I doubt the two of them could not stop him.
Yeah, they would have probably been able to stop him.
But again, that goes back to my original point where it's like if you have to change the characters this drastically to make the story work, then, the story probably isn't as good as you think it is. But
Probably
that's just
the main
me.
reason why I dislike Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn together so much, because in almost every other version, they don't work because even though they might like each other and attracted to each other, it just doesn't work because their end goals are just too different. The only reason they sort of
I could see if they were doing it like a doomed relationship thing where it's like, where it's like, it's like this. The subtext is this isn't going to work.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but that's one of the reasons why the Harley Quinn cartoon, the second season kind of annoyed me because it's like they had to change Poison Ivy's personality so much.
I didn't even bother watching it because I saw like the trailer and I was like,
yeah,
whatever.
God, like the Injustice version of that relationship is even worse because I remember people were talking about it, and it's like you do realize by the time Injustice 2 comes around, she straight up doesn't give a shit about Harley and is trying to kill her.
Yep.
Like,
that's
I
one of the
someone
stories
was
I'm
saying,
talking about.
oh my god, they're such a cute couple. Like, she's literally tries to murder her in the second game. And when Catwoman addresses, like, how fucked up that is, she doesn't give a shit. She's like, Harley loved you. It's like, yeah, so what? And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well, does it like Ivy like just straight up hate humans?
Yeah.
Again, she wants to kill all the humans.
Which is one of the reasons why she doesn't really work with Harley. I mean, yes, again, they have attraction for each other.
But Harley is very clearly human.
Yeah, and even Harley has limits on certain situations.
And that goes back to my original point that it doesn't make sense for Ivy to have a relationship with anybody.
Unless they're just not human.
Yeah, unless it's like Swamp Thing, maybe. And
I could see Swamp Thing would make a little bit more sense.
He doesn't really go full human genocide.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about like in the context like Injustice, you could do like an evil Swamp Thing.
They kind of do that for a brief moment where they kind of imply that he's not a big fan of humans, but it doesn't really go that deep into it. Oh my god, he summoned a second one of these things.
All right, I'll admit, this shit was pretty ridiculous to use the Force to make Colossus things out of it.
Like I said, man, Legend EU was like wild.
Oh,
like,
I know. It was wild. Like some of the shit these people pull in.
Oh, you're not a fan of Visions? Man, fuck you, man. Look at this shit.
Yeah, this was wild.
Force golems.
Then again, remember in one of the Knights of the Republic trailers with what's her name, Satine is fighting Malek, and is not Malek, I forgot what that guy's name is. And there's a part where he's trying to stab her, she just
with her hand with the force.
Yeah, use like the force to like absorb it or something.
And what's funny is they made that a canon move where it's like, Vader catching Han Solo's blaster bolts.
Yeah.
It's the same move. I know they canonized it as the same move.
So that's what she was doing.
It's basically when you focus the force in one point to block all damage. But it's like it's hard to do when it's like certain attacks or something like that.
Yeah, because she was struggling to do it, which is why I kind of give it a pass. So it's like, okay, it looked like you were having a hard time doing that.
God damn, I'm supposed to. Oh.
Like it didn't look easy for her to do.
All right, come on, die, you son of a bitch.
One thing, was like when they introduced that force healing shit in Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, my God, this breaks so much shit. The fact that we're just now seeing this ability.
And then they have the nerve to try to explain that. Oh, they were a dyad in the Force. Like, come the fuck on.
What the fuck does that even mean?
To me, it's more like one of those where, like, oh, the Force and the light and the dark is just two sides of the same coin. It's like, no, it's not. Stop pestering that damn lie.
Like, even if you go with that, it's like it's still dumb.
Mm-hmm.
It's still unbelievably dumb.
Kazdan Paratus, I need you to freaking die.
He's close, but so are you.
I know. That's why I'm like, I don't want to do this again. Die, you son of a bitch.
And I know the force healing was in the game because you can do it in the episode 3 game. But
to me, that's more of a game mechanic.
It's like, I don't know if that's even canon.
Well, I think it is. To be perfectly fair, I think there is a case of force healing in EU somewhere.
I think there's a comic where one of the Skywalkers really down road descendant. I think this is after what's his name?
Oh god damn it! Okay, never mind. I thought it was like you fail the QTE, you lose. It doesn't help that I'm a little tipsy.
Yeah, that doesn't help. I'm trying to remember. There was that
Boom.
Fuck, I'm trying to remember. What was I talking about?
I don't know.
No, it was one of the Skywalkers back when I think it was Darth Crate or something like that. Had that massive Sith Order thing.
Yeah, that's right.
One of the Skywalkers, then he used it, but then I think it was implied that it was a very dark side aligned power or something. Yeah,
it's like what is it, the Rule of One, where he was the only true Sith Lord and everyone else was basically an acolyte.
Yeah.
And they were all basically striving to become his heir or something like that. I remember that. And that's post episode 6, almost a century later.
Yeah, that was a long time after the original trilogy.
Even Anakin shows up as a Force ghost, and I think, Luke shows up as a Force ghost. Then Anakin shows up as a Force ghost to try to talk to this guy. I can't think of his name. He's a Skywalker. And he's like, I don't need to listen to you, old man. It's all right. Anakin's like, all right, you won't listen to me? Maybe you'll listen to him. And freaking Darth Vader shows up and starts dueling him. It's like,
all right, that's fucking funny.
You want to play with the dark side? All right, let's play with the dark side.
The fact that he can still do that is funny.
I know. It's so cool.
I'm ready now.
That reminds me. I remember there was this concept for episode 7 where Anakin was going to appear as a Force ghost, and he was halfway between looking like Vader and Anakin or some shit.
Yeah.
And the idea was he was going to fluctuate between the two. And it's that's kind of cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, my master.
Or Vader was this shadowy thing that was either overlapping Anakin or Anakin was overlapping Vader or something.
Now, you want to know something funny?
Not gonna lie, love Shakti's outfit here.
Oh yeah.
Gather your belongings
and
go.
Something you will not see in new Star Wars. And
No, you will not.
Shakti's apprentice here. I can't think of her name off the top of my head.
No.
She got the
What's-
lightsaber Tonfa thing, which was pretty cool.
What's funny is I remember reading somewhere that this was supposed to be the female version of Darth Maul's species.
Yeah, I think
Before
she
the Night-
is, isn't she?
Before the Night Sisters came about.
Oh, she's not the female Darth Maul species? I thought she was.
Not anymore. Keep in mind, this is before the 3D Clone Wars era.
Oh, so I guess they retcon that.
Yeah. Well, because I think Darth Maul did, like, he had a species, but I don't think they really, like, flushed it out too much. All right. We're sitting at about 3 hours. I think it's a good time to.
Yeah,
Call it here.
probably.
Hey, we got to see a little culture before this ended, so that's pretty cool.
I was hoping to finish this with the shock teeth fight, but I did not expect this game to get so difficult with that second one. But again, I'm pretty sure that's the whiskey.
I swear, every time I stream, like games get harder when you're streaming them for some reason. I don't know if it's because your attention is divided.
Let's see. I'm gonna look at some.
I think it's just because your attention is divided by the stream, especially if you got people like with you.
Let's look at some extras. Oh man, that's pretty cool. Man, I wish like this would make for some good wallpaper art right
It
here.
would.
Especially this.
Yeah, that would be some pretty good. Even that's good wallpaper art.
Oh man.
I remember that actually, like the scene where Baby Star Killer grabs a lightsaber from Vader, and it's like I remember they used that a lot in the poster stuff, and it was like, oh shit, because I thought it was just Vader was training this little kid. He was that little. I was like, oh shit, this kid's gonna be a monster.
Well, I mean, I think that's like one of the points where like the fact that he was able to pull the lightsaber from Vader's hand like that.
Yeah, I think even
he had a
Vader
lot of
was like, oh shit, this kid's powerful.
Um.
Because I mean, Luke couldn't do that.
Oh man, like this is some great artwork. I miss when games did this, where they just threw in the concept art and just said, "Fuck it, here you go."
Oh yeah, it's so cool. And then some games nowadays they be charging you for that.
Yeah, like.
Well, they actually. Oh no, you're right. I was about to say they did that with Jedi Fallen Order, but then I remembered. Oh no, I had to pay extra for that shit.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, they used to make it so that you could, if you pre-ordered, then they would give it to you for free.
One thing that gets me is that sometimes you'll look at the artwork and you'll see some concept and it's like, oh man, that would have been so cool.
I know.
If they had it in the final game. Like, let me see. I know Resident Evil Village does it, where it had like that concept for Ada Wong.
Yeah, Ada was gonna be in the game.
He was basically like a Bloodborne character, and it's like,
Yeah, she had like a plague doctor mask on. I was like, oh, that would have been tight.
Oh, come the fuck on, man!
I know. I was mad when I saw that. I was like, oh man, you mean tell me we could have got Ada in this game?
Oh, let me. I'm just gonna flip through these real quick. Oh, damn.
It's like we need the Wong. Bring the Wong in, please.
And the fact that it's locked, it gives you an incentive to finish the game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was possible and not a pain in the butt. Like, this is an old one, a very old one. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for a Dreamcast. The way that you got all the characters, you had to beat the game with one of the main characters.
Oh God! You remember Fracture?
Whatever happened to that game? Because I remember seeing like ads for it, and I don't know anyone who bought it.
If I remember correctly, I think it got delayed, or it was just not that memorable. I think like this game came out and it had the trailer for Fracture, but it got delayed, or it just wasn't memorable enough for people to remember.
Yeah, I don't know. It still sucks we live in the timeline where we didn't get Star Wars 1313 because I really want to know what the hell that was gonna be.
It was supposed to be Boba Fett's story.
Yeah, like, and it takes place like on the 1313, like that level of Coruscant, which would help sell the fact of how big Coruscant is.
Yeah, because Coruscant is massive.
Yeah,
Like you can't even see the ground.
But instead of getting Boba Fett's story, we get those two sisters in Ahsoka's story instead.
Oh, you
'cause,
talking about the
like,
one with the Tumblr haircut?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man.
Man, I hate that goddamn haircut. I fucking hate that goddamn haircut.
The moment I see that haircut on a character, I'm like, "Yep, this is gonna suck.
my
I'm gonna just pass." At this point, sometimes I wonder, do they do that on purpose just to weed
My
out
question
people who might
is,
not be
like, what's the
their
appeal of
kind
that?
of people?
They
I
have
think
to.
so. I
They
think it
have
is
to at this
that.
point.
I can kind of understand them doing it with what they want to do with Saint Row. They want to basically, and again, that trailer was very symbolic. They don't want the people who were into the original game. They want
Yeah,
this new
clearly.
So I mean, I hate them for it, but not hate them. I dislike them for it, but I don't blame them for it. But then you saw what happened with Tila's haircut, and you're just like, you're just being a bitch.
I mean, at this point now, it's like the
Oh,
haircut.
I hate them for it because it's like, why the fuck did you even bother making this a Saints Row game if you're just gonna basically tell everyone who liked the original piss off? It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, like if you have to abandon almost everything that made the first game like
You need to
popular,
just make a new
well-known,
series
you
then,
should have just made a new IP.
or just
Yeah.
make it a spinoff. I know they tried
just
that
like-
with like Agents of Mayhem, whatever the fuck it was called.
And anytime that I see people defend it, it's just like, oh, looks so good. I'm just like, are you?
It's like you're actively defending people shitting in your cereal. That's what you're doing.
But see,
No,
here's
it's
my
even worse.
here's my
They're
thought
like
with a lot
those
of that
those
stuff.
guys
It's
with
like,
the glasses saying, "Don't question, just consume." And
Yeah, it's like
try to get more
you
product.
realize
Like,
how much
it's that energy.
and I'm gonna get mean. You realize how much of a bitch you sound like. I'm sorry.
like for me, it's like it's one of those where it's this industry did it to itself because they've cultivated people to like don't question it, just buy it. But now it's like no. Let me rephrase that. Now they've kind of like they've gone so hard with the nostalgia baiting that anything that's not like easily recognizable, it doesn't do as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like just make a new IP. And granted, yes, making a new IP is difficult, but when it comes to the mainstream, because they're so hell bent on nostalgia baiting, it's like now any new IP is never gonna work because you've conditioned people to buy into the established stuff as opposed to the new stuff.
Look at what happened with Cowboy Bebop.
Oh Lord, like
Oh my god, that I've been trying to just like not like avoid
Oh.
even like looking at it because it's like I'm
Sorry.
gonna get pissed. No, it's not your fault. It's like I'm gonna get pissed the more I just like the more shit it is. I'm just fucking done.
Well, the funny thing is, when it comes to it's pretty much modern day in the sense that some of the guy stuff actually isn't that bad. The special effects aren't that bad, but when it comes to Faye,
Jet's arm looks awful too.
yo, like I was about
I
to
said
say,
It
that
like,
looks
was bad. I
awful.
didn't
Like
say
I've
it
seen
was great.
cosplay do better jobs with this shit.
like his
Yeah.
arm
Like
just
amateur
looks like
cosplay.
his arm just looks like, hey, put some plastic on your arm as opposed to it being a metal arm.
They didn't even try to paint it to look like metal either.
But it looks like they changed Faye's character completely. I mean, she used to use sex appeal, but she still looked dangerous, and now she just looks boring and safe.
Yeah, she's boring as hell, and
Mhm.
it's like that doesn't even look like Faye.
Yeah.
And if people
favorite
try to
is,
sit there and tell me, "Oh, it's Faye," it's like, no, it isn't.
Did you see the intro? Like they did their own like live action version.
I didn't even watch it because I heard it was awful. I was like,
Yo,
I'm not even
I'm
gonna
gonna
watch
tell
this
you
shit.
right now. I don't care what anybody says. Like the minute, like, because I saw like a side by side comparison. When they show like Spike running, like in the animated version, it looks very energetic. But
Yeah, and
in
it's because it's rotoscope too, and they like
in the
exaggerate
fucking,
the
like, live
movements.
action one, he's got the goofiest ass run going. Like he literally looks like a guy running in place. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god!
the minute and that's like the first. That's not the first. That's like the second moment where you get to see a real side by side comparison. And I was like, this is goofy as hell. Anyone who says this looks good is lying to themselves.
Or once
Like-
again,
Did they even use the theme song Tank for that, or did they just?
I think that makes it worse, honestly.
That
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I think that it would make it worse.
Because it's like the fact that you see that and then it's like, all right, let me go look at the original, and you see how much better it looks. Like it's night and day.
yeah.
The only way you could think that, like, honestly, I was gonna say, like, even if you would have to like have never seen the original, but even that, it's like if I never saw the original and just saw this, I would still think this looks lame as hell.
Yeah, And did you hear that apparently they're doing One Piece and
Ugh.
they're trying to tie? I think they said they're trying to make one of the characters like Kamala Harris or some bullshit.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm
I don't
like,
know
what
how
the
much
No.
I
I
give
think they were
validity to
comparing
that.
Luffy.
Oh,
to
comparing,
Kamala
yeah.
Khan. And I'm just like,
And it's like,
did
okay,
you
that's a
watch
red
this
flag
movie?
just automatically.
My favorite is that, like, again, I'm not a big anime fan, so I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I am. However, I am a firm believer that, like, there's a reason why anime is anime and not live action. And this can be said for a lot of animated shows. If you could do a live action, then you wouldn't have bothered with animation.
Yeah, but some things, honestly, I just think flat out do not work in live action.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember the Wachowski tried to do the Speed Racer movie, and it's like they tried to make that as much like the animation as possible, and people hated it.
Like, to be
Yeah.
fair, like, it's
Although-
not necessarily like Speed Racer. It's not bad.
I don't even
But-
think it's bad. It's just like I get why people would not like
yeah, but
it.
that is not for like a general person. That is for
Yeah.
someone who likes that kind of stuff. Like, you're not winning anybody over with that.
Yeah, it's way too stylized and over the top for like your general audience.
But the
Yeah, I
fact
would-
that Hollywood has not learned since Dragon Ball Evolution is all the evidence you need that this is not going away.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, like when it comes to Speed Racer and the Wachowskis, they made it cool. They made it known that they are genuine fans of comic books and anime and manga. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it was a bad attempt. I mean, they tried. Like, they
like,
genuinely
they
tried.
They try their best, but at least with Speed Racer, you can rewatch it anytime you want in comparison to say like the movies that we've been getting like as of recently.
Yeah, Speed Racer is one of those where it's like it's still a competently made movie, as opposed to like some other ones. Like, it might not be fair because it's older, but like Dragon Ball Evolution is not a competently made movie.
No, it is. For one, I honestly don't think you could do Dragon Ball live action. Period.
No.
I just don't
The
think it
closest we got
works.
was the closest we ever got to a live action Dragon Ball Z movie was probably Man of Steel.
Yeah, or the end fight between Smith and Neo and the Matrix is as close as you're gonna get.
Yeah, and even then, again, both of those movies aren't exactly popular. With
Yeah, both of those movies are not considered great movies.
You know, I'm probably going to get some hate for saying this, but even though Man of Steel was flawed, I still think it has one of the best fight scenes in comic book.
I
movies.
kind of have to disagree because of how they shot them.
Oh, well, I'll say this: I'm a big Superman fan, and I will say right now, people saying like that's not Superman, this is not a good Superman movie, they're absolutely right. However, I still enjoy it, and it's because of the action. It's not
Like the action scenes are the only
action.
things that keep me from giving that just completely writing that movie off.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like the action is good enough for me to enjoy it. However, again, it's like a lot of it comes from the fact that this Superman is literally just tearing up towns without
And does not
really
give a single shit about property damage.
like he doesn't even attempt to try to like move this fight elsewhere. To be fair, though, I doubt Zod would allow him to do that or any of the Kryptonians. But
It would have just been nice to see him attempt it.
Mhm.
Yeah, he makes no attempt at it.
Or actually,
I remember I was watching EFAP covering Man of Steel. They were watching it, and the person who was editing it together pointed out that right before he starts fighting Zod's minions, they ADR'd him saying "stay inside" or "get inside," and the editor was like, "Did they ADR that in to make Superman look better
I mean,
before the shit show?"
I mean, given the amount of destruction they cause, it would seem silly, but it would be better than the nothing we get.
Yeah, because honestly, like especially the way he's walking towards, like it just looks like he's like, "All right, we just gonna fight. I don't
Like,
give a shit."
It would be interesting if like because when he fights Zod the first time, like when he charges Zod at the Kent farm, he basically drags him into town.
Yeah,
It
he
would be
did.
interesting if like he dragged them away from town and then Zod threw Superman into town, and then every moment he tried like it would have been interesting to see Superman trying to take the fight elsewhere.
Yeah, or
But all
like
the
Superman tries
Kryptonians
to
are
go
just-
into space and Zod just catches him. And it's like, no,
Mhm.
we're fighting.
Yeah, like
we're fighting in this city.
like Fiora and
or
the
even-
other dude are basically just throwing him back into the town because they don't care. They don't care about the people. They're just here to kick.
Yeah, they're like, we gonna kill these people anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, or even take the fight to the Phantom Zone.
Oh my god, that would have been interesting.
Yeah,
to
that
see.
would have been cool too. But
They fight
actually,
the
no.
Phantom
But the
Zone,
problem
he
with
has to
that is
escape
when
it.
Superman loses powers there, if it went into the Phantom Zone? Will both of them be depowered?
It kind of varies from story.
I don't
to
know.
story.
I don't really know how that would work.
Honestly, that would have been a cool climax where it's just like Zod versus Superman with no powers in a foreign wasteland where they're just fighting as men.
Yeah,
And
like
then-
if he had like a good fight with them with their powers before that.
The only downside is that Zod's a soldier, so by all means he should win that.
But then again, he got his ass kicked by Jor-El, who's a fucking scientist.
Yeah,
It's like, how was a scientist kicking your
the
ass?
military leader of the entire Kryptonian army gets his ass absolutely handed to
By
him
Russell
by their
Crowe.
top scientist.
I mean, there's such a thing as the genius bruiser, and Beast is a scientist, but he is a capable fighter.
Yeah, but Beast
That
is
just
a
means it's
beast.
ridiculous, especially when they establish that Krypton's got this weird caste system where it's like your genetics determine your role. So it's like he was genetic engineer for science.
Like, let's be
Why would
real
he be
here.
able to throw down against an actual warrior caste?
Like,
It
let's
doesn't
be-
make
like,
sense.
What
Yeah.
doesn't help them is the fact that like Zod was the top military guy. Like he should be the pinnacle of Kryptonian.
Yeah, like it should have
soldiers.
been a just straight up beat down.
Like the fact that like they should have at least given Jor-El a reason. Like, how the hell are you fighting this tough? And it's like I've been downloading training vids or something. Like, this is ridiculous.
It's
Like,
something,
he's just
man.
going ham on this motherfucker.
Or you could have said he was like a combat scientist or something. I don't fucking know. Some kind of like he was like a military scientist, so they gave him training or something.
I don't know. I feel like they gave a little too much context before Krypton. Like,
They spent way too much on Krypton.
I get why, but at the same time, and then like
Although
it was weird. They almost went with this like geeker aesthetic for things, and it's like I get they're aliens, but it's like, is this really like Superman shit?
I think in the beginning of Man of Steel, so like they were borrowing things from the World of Krypton miniseries. However, it didn't feel like the World of Krypton miniseries. Series after.
Like you could have told me that was any planet, and I would have just been like, all right.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
the Krypton stuff at the beginning feels like its own separate movie.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that would have been a prequel to Man of Steel that came later down the line.
Yeah.
Honestly, Man of Steel would have been a lot better if it just started with him growing up and like slowly gaining his powers, and then Zod just shows up.
Although, but if you do that and focusing Clark slowly developing his powers, you could have also introduced the Legion of Superheroes because they appeared during Clark's youth.
Honestly, I wouldn't even do that because that would just be too much of a mess.
Well, because again, like, it's very clear that when Man of Steel was made, there was no context of like the GCEU. That came very much after. Like, BVS is
Good
the real
God.
start of the DC universe. Like, Man of Steel, it has like Easter eggs, but it is not setting up a universe like
Nah.
BVS does.
Yeah.
Like,
You
it's ridiculous how differently they are
I mean,
portrayed them as.
What Warner Brothers should have done in establishing the DC Extended Universe is make standalone movies and then lead to Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League should have we should be talking about Justice League should be getting ready to come out.
Yeah,
Not
honestly.
have already came out. And I always stand by, if they really wanted to sell this, what they should have done was every DC movie, like skip Justice League. Justice League doesn't happen. You have all the other DC movies. However, the end credit scene, if you just have to have one, should have been Doomsday punching a hole out of his containment prison. Like, that should have been the end credit scene, just like how they did it in the comics leading up to Doomsday.
Yeah, that would have been
And
cool.
so when BVS finally comes out, which is before or even change BVS to Justice League and make the entire film's plot against Doomsday, like, it would have been such an awesome build up to like general audience. They have no idea what this is. They just see a giant hand punching a metal wall, and slowly as each credit scene goes from film to film, more of the armor that's around it breaks away, and you start seeing more of the monster.
That would have been cool. But they didn't know what the fuck they were doing with Doomsday. It's like, why the fuck did you throw him into this movie?
Mhm.
And then freaking Lex Luthor is like he is the complete opposite of you.
Like, what even was Lex Luthor's motivation for
He's
making
like,
Doomsday? I
God
don't get it.
Well,
his
they
devil.
kind of. Well, I think they kind of
Superman
show it in the
meets his
Snyder
Doomsday.
cut a little bit that he was getting orders from Desaad, or not Desaad.
Steppenwolf.
What's his face? It's not
Steppenwolf.
Darkseid. Steppenwolf.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I don't
of that.
understand that either, because it's like, why would you be listening to Steppenwolf when the whole point was, like, I kind of got the impression Lex Luthor was terrified of what was coming.
Well, he
Anyway.
wanted to basically be on the winning side, and if he felt if he did his part, he would, be one of the people who survived.
That doesn't even make sense with how he behaved to me.
Well, he
didn't
just be crazy.
He didn't behave like as someone who's like, oh, okay, we're about to get our ass kicked. I'm gonna switch sides. So no, he just came off as just, I hate Superman, so I'm gonna make this other monster to kill him because reasons.
And again, his entire personality is completely off. Like he's just a quirky, crazy maniac. It's like that's not Lex Luthor.
No, I don't know what the fuck that was. And I think originally, at one point he was supposed to be Joker or Riddler or some shit.
I mean, he feels more like Riddler than he does Lex Luthor. That's for sure.
As
Joker,
much
I
as
think,
I'm
is a
not a
bit of
big
a
fan of
stretch.
him being Lex Luthor, I still like him better than Kevin Smith playing, not Kevin Smith, Kevin Spacey playing Lex Luthor, because again, it didn't feel like
I actually
he had
liked
anything
Kevin
new to
Smith's
him.
Lex Luthor, even though he doesn't have a whole
I
lot.
think you
The
mean
movie
Kevin
was kind of
Spacey.
shitty. Kevin
Kevin
Spacey,
Spacey.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's cool. I made the same mistake.
Kevin
Yo, man,
Spacey.
Kevin Smith as Lex Luthor.
That would be terrible. That'd be
Yo, I
ass.
pay to see that shit.
That would be ass.
Yeah, but I guess the reason why I didn't like Kevin Spacey's interpretation is it didn't feel like his version. It basically felt like him acting like Gene Hackman.
Well, that's
acting
because
like
they were
Lex
trying to
Luthor.
make it like a sequel to Superman 2 or some shit.
I mean,
know,
I
but
think it really
didn't-
is
but
a sequel to
It just felt clunky and odd, and of course, I wasn't even liking him even before I found out about all the shit that he was involved in.
Oh yeah, that's
So
right.
Yeah, because Kevin Spacey's creep.
yeah, I mean, I thought he was a creep even before that. So yeah, of course, when it came to light, I was just feeling like, yeah, I told you.
Yeah, that honestly, I was like, I'm not surprised.
Like he could have revealed that shit after House of Cards ended because like the show. I don't get me wrong.
Well,
I'm
I think
not
he got accused of it before
Like-
that, and then he just kind of admitted to it.
Let me put it this way. I'm not saying he should have kept his job, but god damn it, did that show downfall the minute he left.
I mean, Nick Cannon got to keep his job after the bullshit he said. Oh, he's still on that fucking that. I don't understand the concept of the show, that Masked Singer show or whatever. Like, I don't understand the concept of it. It's like, okay, so we have people in masks and you don't know who they are and they sing. That's it. And it's supposed to be a big reveal who the person under the mask is. It's like,
I mean, they already did that with The Voice, where they couldn't get all the chairs were like facing the opposite way. You didn't get to see who the singer was. You had to listen to their voice first, and then if you like the voice, then you get to decide if you get to keep them.
yeah, I it's like, okay, except now you just have them wearing costumes and shit.
I think
So
honestly,
the audience doesn't know.
It was just to take that same concept and try to make it more interesting by having them wear a bunch of ridiculous outfits.
Yeah, and that's like, I don't get the appeal of this because it's like, okay, some of these people they can't fucking sing, and you can tell because they turn up the music to hide their voice. It's like what you do with a bad karaoke.
Yeah, I remember like I can't remember who I had this. I don't know what was it. Where it's like I think my mom told me this one time where it's like if you have someone and they can't sing live, then they can't sing. Like if you listen to their songs and it's like you listen to like their CD and they sound really good, but then you listen to them live and they sound awful, that's someone who can't sing. Like
honestly, that's me and I like this group Tesseract. When I hear their live shit, it's like you guys are way worse live.
Like that does like think about it. Like if someone can sing, you would expect them to be able to sing without any extra editing or anything like that. Like no, like if you can't sing live, you can't sing. Like that's like putting me on stage. I can't sing.
Yeah, I can't fucking sing either. I'm
live.
flat
You
as
put me in a
hell.
recording booth. Yeah, a good editor can make anyone sound decent. Like
Yeah.
I was gonna say look at T-Pain, but T-Pain can sing. So
Well, he actually can sing because I know he auto-tunes the shit out of his voice.
yeah, but they're saying like T-Pain is like he's a semi-decent example in the sense that like they auto-tune his stuff, but you know he can still sing even without that. But you know that's part of his thing. Like the auto-tune is part of his thing.
I auto-tune. I'm just like, man, can y'all knock this shit off with the auto-tune? I know it's cliche to tell you I hate auto-tune, but I fucking hate auto-tune.
I'm on 50-50 in the sense where
Unless it's
like,
an electronic heavy song, I don't like auto-tune.
yeah, because it's like
Like if
it
you're
fits the
purposely trying to go
aesthetic.
for a robot effect, it's like, okay, I get it.
If it fits the aesthetic or the sound you're going for, and again, if it sounds decent, like, I'll cut
Yeah.
it some slack.
Like if it's clear you're doing it to do some kind of effect, like electronic effect on the voice, I get it then, and it matches the song.
Like the first Bay Transformers soundtrack, they have a lot of that, and honestly, I like that I like that soundtrack.
That one Linkin Park song they had at the end, it's like I don't even listen to Linkin Park. It's like I like this song.
Oh man, Linkin Park, man,
Hmm.
that used to be my shit growing up. Like Hybrid Theory, was it Meteora?
I remember the one they did for the second one I liked, New Divide, that was good.
Honestly, to me, when it comes to Linkin Park, I know like there's like a certain time period where their sound kind of changes, and it's roughly around the time Mike Shinoda left the group. And honestly, to me, the Transformers movies are a good reflection of that. Like, because I think Mike Shinoda left right around the first Transformers film, and as the movies progress, like Transformers 1, 2, and 3, you can hear the sound changes because you listen to those 3 songs they do for each film, they are starkly different from each other.
The one I did not like was with 4 with the Imagine Dragon thing. The only thing I liked about it was the instrumental.
Oh,
because I think Hans Zimmer did the instrumental and the drums were good.
The
but it's
drums
like
were sick.
The drums were sick, but like these vocals are terrible.
Honestly, like Transformers 4, like I don't care what anybody says. I hate that movie.
I did not like that movie
but
either.
Lockdown and his theme is fucking.
Yeah, no,
great.
that part was good. Like the shit with Lockdown was good.
I was fucking driving the other day, and that song came up on my like shuffle, and I was like, "Oh shit, man, we're about to bounty hunt some motherfuckers."
I'm not gonna lie, I've written way too many scenes of Lockdown's theme with like antagonist characters. Because that's like that's good. Nice. It's good. It's menacing. It has a clear vibe to it that matches the character.
I will say this: when it comes to the Transformers movies, it's like each film, like as bad as they are, they introduce something that's kind of cool, even if it doesn't really sell it too well. Like the first Transformers movie,
I will still say the first one was good.
Yeah, I stand by the fact the first Transformers movie is good. It's not better than like the original Transformers the movie, but
yeah, it's not better than like the 80s one. No, but
the second one, however, I will never defend that movie. But however, the fight scene between Optimus versus Megatron, Starscream, all that, like
that was awesome.
First of all, it's an awesome scene. Second of all, when you consider what happened in the first movie where Optimus and Megatron were straight up equals, it makes no sense that Optimus survived that long with Megatron, Starscream, and another Decepticon.
I've actually seen like some people argue that apparently it's stated outside from which I hate when movies do this, that Optimus somehow was like training and shit after that fight, and that because Megatron got a new body, he wasn't used to it.
Yeah, like that's dumb. But again, like
it's like it would have been fine if they had established it in the movie itself that that's what was going on.
Without the context, it's still a pretty damn good fight scene.
Yeah, I do look at Optimus just going ape shit.
And then Transformers 3, Dark of the Moon, Shockwave was pretty cool. He was very underutilized, but I thought he was pretty
criminally under. Considering how much he was in the marketing, like even in the game for the which was a prequel to the movie, he's like built up as this big threat because that's like Megatron's plan. At the end of the game, like Optimus, like you fight him, and it's actually a pretty alright fight for a video game tie-in. Although he does have that whole just shoot him in the back thing going on.
And not to mention, like, there's the context that, like, it's Shockwave of all people, like, he's one of those named Decepticons that fans are going to recognize. And even in the film, they hint that him and Optimus have a history.
Yeah, because he outright says Optimus' name at one point. It's like one of the only times he speaks English.
Yeah, and then even Transformers 4 was Age of Extinction. You have Lockdown, he pretty much stole the show that entire film.
Yeah, he really did.
Never mind the fact that Mark Wahlberg was able to go toe-to-toe with the son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was... Oh, you talk about ridiculous. Remember 5 where Mark Wahlberg stops a goddamn Transformers sword?
No, that's 4.
No, that's 5 where he does that. Like when the knight's about to kill Optimus, he just screams no and gets like King Arthur's sword and is able to stop.
Oh, they
a
did that in
full
5 as well. I never
Yes.
saw 5. I didn't even
5
bother with
is
5.
god awful, and the thing was, it can't even get a pass of action because there's barely any.
Well, I remember in 4, there's like a moment where like Optimus is getting his ass kicked by Lockdown. So Mark Wahlberg, I don't know what his character's name in that movie.
Cade, I don't know why I
Cade,
remember the
whatever, I
name
don't even
Cade.
care.
Yeah,
But like Mark Wahlberg and Bumblebee and his daughter and Mark's daughter decide, we're gonna back up Optimus. He needs our help. So
Yeah.
like,
and Mark
they
is
go to
out there
help him.
firing the sword gun into Lockdown,
like,
and it's just wailing on him.
Lockdown tries to stab Mark Wahlberg, and he puts the sword gun up and deflects it. And it's like, did this motherfucker just stop a giant robot sword from stabbing him?
It gets worse in 5 because it turns out in 5 he's like implied to be a descendant of King Arthur or some shit.
Yeah, I remember hearing about
And
that.
like, and there's an early part of the movie where he gets this like talisman thing that then transforms and is like stuck to him. It's like Terminator 2 liquid metal shit. But it keeps moving and he can't figure out what it's for. And then after Optimus goes evil and then Bumblebee talks and then Optimus snaps out of it.
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
other
right, 'cause in
knights
that
of
movie-
like the round table, which are all robots, are like, okay, you working for Quintessa, we're gonna kill you. And Optimus like, they're gonna kill me. And doesn't put up fight them. They start beating the shit out of Optimus, and then one of them pulls out a sword to execute him. And then Mark Wahlberg screams no, and then the goo thing transforms to a sword, and he just stops a Transformers execution strike just mid swing, like as if I was swinging at somebody like normal sized.
Well, because every Transformers movie does this, all the way back from the second one, where they take the basic premise of like, oh, Transformers have been here longer than we realize. But in the first one, it's like, oh, they've been here for like
maybe like a couple decades.
But then you get the Transformers 2 where they retcon, oh no, they've been here since ancient Egypt.
Yeah,
and
they've been here
Transformers
since then.
3, where it's like, oh, they've been here since the space race, which when you take Transformers 1 and 3, it kind of fits because the timelines are a bit more connected.
Yeah.
But then you go to Transformers 4 where it's like, oh no, they were the reason why the dinosaurs got wiped out.
Yeah, their creators killed all the
were
dinosaurs.
They were here around the Knights of the Round Table era, and Bumblebee was murking Nazis
in World War II, which makes no goddamn sense.
Never mind the fact that World War II still played out the same way it did.
Not only that, but Bumblebee was on Earth the whole time, didn't know the Allspark was there the whole time, and all these other Transformers fighting World War II, and no one realized, oh, the Allspark is here.
And then, like, they retcon it to where the Earth is actually Unicron, like, or at least he's like buried in the Earth.
Yeah, which
like,
was
so
stupid.
You're telling me that
even though they did it in Prime, and in Prime it made more sense than it did in Transformers 5 for some reason.
Like, let me get this straight. You're telling me the Allspark crash lands into Unicron, and that doesn't wake him up?
You mean to tell me the ancient primes were on Earth, which is Unicron, put the harvester there that devours suns, and Unicron was just asleep the whole time. No one thought to mention, oh, by the way, Unicron's down there.
Nope. Okay, then.
You mean to tell me it's like, really, this is getting ridiculous now?
You would think the Fallen, who in the second film was like the OG Decepticon,
which I hated that they was like, he's the OG Decepticon. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like way to infantilize Megatron.
Megatron, like so has Megatron worked for him the whole time?
You're telling me he in his quest for vengeance, he didn't think, hey, let's wake up Unicron.
Yeah, let's wake up Unicron. Fuck it.
He'll wipe out the humans for us.
And it's like, why is Unicron even there in the first place? I don't get it.
Hey guys, I think I'm gonna head out.
I've already said we were gonna end this a while ago. So
yeah, we've been going for like almost 4 hours now.
I mean, this isn't the worst. I know we've gone longer for some other ones, but
yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here, especially since the fact we've long stopped talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, we've completely lost the plot of Star Wars. We've talked about Transformers. Bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sign that we're just having fun here. That's the whole point of this. All right, so I'm gonna thank everybody who came on.
I will say that Bumblebee was good. Last thing about Transformers, Bumblebee was good.
Yeah, Bumblebee was actually pretty decent. I saw it eventually.
I was pleasantly surprised by that, even though it is straight up ripping off Iron Giant like hard. Like for real. Even when Bumblebee goes like slightly evil for a second, like his eyes turn all red. Like he goes like full kill mode, and then the girl just convinces him not to do that. It's like that was straight up Iron Giant.
All right,
like, y'all ain't even subtle with the shit.
I want to thank everyone who watched, everyone who will watch, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah.
Catch you later, guys.
Catch you later.
See y'all later.